out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuning in the Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me and Effect. Got to give a huge birthday, born day shout out to my brother Vague. Happy born day, bro.
Happy birthday, Kill. You know what it is. The toy. And then also, I've already been drinking. So.
Well, there you go. And for people watching who may not know, me and Vague have the same birthday. So it's my born day, 51. Be like I said earlier, man, like I'm in a good groove right now, man. Like life is good, life is great. I don't have any complaints. If 50 plus is the third verse of life, my third verse is starting off like Big's Unbelievable's third verse, busting, shots out the sunroof of Lexus coupes. Like it's starting beautiful, man. And prayerfully it will stay that way. Wishing the same for Vague. Because Vague, you're not 50 yet, right?
Now I'm 48.
All right, so you just ended out the second verse. You trying to come up with that last 16 to end out that second verse of life.
That's how I get my, I hear at 50 you get your old man strength. Then I'll be grabbing niggas by the right. Grabbing you at.
Right. So for people out there watching, man, God put on my heart, like when I was turning 50, I was getting real stressed and depressed. And at the same token, I was on Twitter talking about the importance of the third verse. And all these young MCs was like, well, what's the importance of the third verse? I'm like, niggas, the most important verse is the verse. It's in conclusion. When you write a rhyme, it's like the intro, the body, the in conclusion is the most important part. If you take the third verse, if I gave you power away, you don't know what happened. You take the third verse of Song Cry away, you don't know what happened. It's in conclusion, and God put on my heart, nigga, you are in the third verse of your life. What are you complaining about? You're about to go into the conclusion of your life. Like, let's keep it a buck. Like, I got less time ahead of me than it is behind me. So it's like, how are you going to end this? And I know a lot of people who are depressed and, hate their life right now. And I'm like, bro, you better treat that shit like a rhyme and ball that piece of paper up and throw it away and start writing again. But the third verse is not the time to get writer's block. That is not the time to be like, you done wrote two verses. Now you're going to be like, fuck it, I can't finish it. No, if you don't like the way your third verse is starting, ball the paper up, throw it away, get to writing again. But now is not the time to get writer's block. So for all my old heads out there, if you're not enjoying life, do something to change that. For people in their second verse of their life, start getting your life right. So when you get to this 50, you good. You know what I mean? Because that was the blessing. I got started on changing things at 44. So by the time I got to 50, it was like smooth sailing. Like I'm going to my gig. People are like, nigga, why you here today? I'm like, I love my fucking job. Like, I never thought in a million years I'd be like, I love my fucking job. Like that I'm going to come on my birthday. And then I'm telling people too, violence don't stop just because it's my birthday. So we still got lives to save out here. So that's why I come to work every day. JR, what's going on, good brother?
Oh man, it feels good to be back. Been gone for about 3 weeks, so it's good to be back with the crew. You know what I mean? So yeah.
All right, Kel, what's good, baby? Queens is in the building.
Knicks bound. My
bad. Just calm down with all that Knicks shit, y'all, man. Like,
Come on, don't even hate because your boys, please.
No, I'm not hating.
Y'all know when it's about the Eagles, y'all good money. But can we get our shit about the Knicks for one time?
One is two different sports.
It don't matter. It don't matter.
It's two different sports. It is. I do. And again, the Eagles have saved the city of Philadelphia, because if we don't win that Super Bowl, the Wells Fargo will be going down. So, because I'd be like, Sixers? Who are the Sixers? I don't even. All I know is I'm gonna send a reminder every goddamn day that the Eagles won the Super Bowl. That's all I know. So, I don't even know who the Sixers are. Who plays for them? I don't. Niggas is texting me shit. I didn't know Embiid had surgery on his knee. I have no idea. I'm
George Max out for the season.
Hey, what I told you, one of my young boys told
really
me.
Don't watch it at all?
No, I'm dead ass, and we could talk about the whole NBA. We'll finish this up with the NBA and shit like that. Kelv, again, brother, I just want to give our heartfelt condolences for your father passing away, man. I just appreciate you being here, jumping back in. Know that we have been praying for you, brother, and I know that's a huge piece, because I've been asking about your pop when from when he first got sick, and just want to let you know we love you, bro, and definitely want to keep his memory alive. Now, Tron, what's going on, good brother?
What's up, y'all? Happy to be here, man. Happy to be here, and salute to you and Babe on your born days, man.
Oh man, good looking. I remember growing up, I used to think I was so cool because Eddie Murphy's birthday is the same birthday. I was like, nigga, I'm Eddie Murphy's brother.
Really?
Like,
That's
right. Yeah. That's back when you was a kid. Like, you got the same birthday, or we related then, nigga. Not really. You're not related, but if you want to play that game, you can. All right, let's jump right into it. Look, this week's title is Put Some Respect on Their Name. And this is coming because I'm shouting boys out. At Ace Mahoney on Twitter. And this is my guy, Ace.
Oh, we know.
But the bull said Fife was a hype man. And I'm like,
Fife.
That's who said that?
Wow.
Yes.
Oh,
So
I'm
Fife
getting
was
Ace right after the show for free.
Ace said Fife was a hype man.
No.
And again, he'll want to go into the context, and it just all started because he was saying Q-Tip was the heavy lifter, blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, look, hype, Fife was no hype man who then just started rhyming more. You know what I mean? I've never heard that before. And y'all know me on Twitter. People have whatever their opinion they want. I've just never heard in 41 years of discussing hip hop every day of my life, someone call Fife a hype man, or someone not consider Fife a part of a Tribe Called Quest. I've never heard that. You know what I mean? So that's what this is about. This whole show is all about, who are MCs that you feel need respect put on their name. For me, I'm going off of a lot of people of who I see on Twitter, because I tell people there's the real world and then there's this crack house called Twitter. So there's things that I hear in this crack house called Twitter that I have never heard in the real world. And just for people knowing, I've lived in Philly, I've stayed in Brooklyn, I've lived in Maryland, I've lived in Atlanta. So it's not like I'm just staying in my 5 block radius of Philly. Like, I've lived down south. You know what I mean? And I've talked hip hop many places. I've hosted hip hop shows. But Fife being a hype man was just super disrespectful. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I know more people who know Fife's bars than know Tip's bars.
Yeah.
If I say electric relaxation, what comes to mind? I like them brown, yellow, Puerto Rican, and Haitian. That is like across the board. If I say scenario to OG, well, Bo knows this, but Bo know that, but Bo don't know Jack because Bo can't rap. So so I could just name Tribe songs, and for most people, it's gonna be a Fife bar that comes to mind first. I've said it myself. Well, Fife was a little more simplistic than Q-Tip, who was the abstract. So again, I'm not even saying that he had the better rhyme. That's not what this is about. This isn't a who's better, Q-Tip or Fife. It's just Fife deserves the respect, because I know people who have Tribe as their dopest hip hop group ever. Okay, I have never heard. If you say Fife is just a hype man, and that means you're basically saying it's Q-Tip's group, and that's not it. Because a hype man to me is like Spliff Star, or Vin Rock, maybe from Naughty, because he didn't spit all the time, And again, Ace's defense was, the first album he wasn't really around, but he was on it. He was on that Can I Kick It joint, with a dope verse, And granted, Tip told you he wasn't serious, but when Low End came. And here's the thing that I realized also about hip hop Twitter. People want to try to talk from a 2025 perspective and talk about it in 1992. And what I mean because of that is I want to say Ace also said when he thinks of Tribe, of the Roots, he thinks of Questlove and Black Thought. And I said, yeah, in 2025 you do. But in 1994, when they dropped, nigga, nobody even know who Questlove was. In fact, the nigga name was Brother Question. He wasn't even Questlove yet. So you're taking what you know now in 2025 and then trying to go back in time and say, no, back then, Distortion of Static, it was Thought and Malik. We gonna get into Malik. Malik's name's on my list too. When you heard Proceed, it was Thought and Malik. So we gotta stop changing these narratives like, now later on in life. But Queens, Queens, what do you think? Fife being a hype man?
I think a hype man. I think a Too Big MC from MC Hammer. That's a hype man. I think
Right.
Fife. No, not at all. Like you said, Fife got a lot. You said the most memorable rhymes. That people off the top of the head can just spit and stuff. If you're on point time to. Just I think I would never classify him. He's too accomplished. He got albums too on top of that. So no, would never think that. Yeah, at all. Not at all.
JR, what about you?
When I think of hype man, I'm thinking like Flavor Flav type of shit. So for me, I'm like, Fife like that? Nah, H. Nah, son, you about to hear it from me. I'm sorry. I'm
surprised that he said that of all people.
That's where I'm at with it.
Bro, and again, it's funny because, and I always tell people this, he's like, man, Kill, you got all your peoples coming at me. And I'm like, bro, here's the thing with my timeline. It's very reminiscent of my neighborhood in Philly. If you say some dumb shit, niggas gonna come at you. If you don't want niggas to come at you, don't say no dumb shit. Like, it's literally a very simple math equation. You know what I mean? And not Ace, but I've had other people like DM me like, dog, can you stop retweeting and stop laughing at people's shit? And I'm like, no, because the shit is funny, my nigga. Like, no, like, this is your lesson to not say dumb shit. Watch what you say. Because, for the next 24 hours, people are going to be like, fight, because that's just how crazy that sounded. Veg, I'm sorry, you had your hand raised. What were you going to say?
You said
Veg, yeah, I saw your hand raised.
Yeah, that shit is crazy talk, first and foremost, because nobody's ever said that. And really, you can make the case for Fife by just saying, okay, yeah, he didn't really rhyme on the first album. But when you think of Tribe and you think of classics, what two albums do you think of? How much work did Fife put in on those two albums?
Period.
Is he a hype man on Low End and Midnight Marauders?
A whole songs by himself. Come on, right?
Right.
Does he not have memorable bars on Scenario with other MCs? Come on, dog. You relax. Like, I don't know what the fuck you was smoking at the time. And for me, I don't care. It is what it is. Nigga. I don't know these internet niggas. I don't know them. I don't owe them anything. I've never met you in real life. I don't know you. It's not me. But don't try to flashy fingers with shit about somebody who was clearly not a hype man. If anything, Low End Theory was his coming out party as a solo MC within a group. You know what I'm saying? He's the MC of the group without a doubt because of his memorable bars. We remember the bust off on your couch. Now you got Siemens furniture.
Yeah.
People were going crazy when they heard that. So to say that, like you said, Kill, I think you made the point by saying you're thinking about things now. Q-Tip's here. He's a producer. We know he made all the tracks, and you're doing like this with Fife.
Right.
And it was never like that. It was like sometimes it was Fife bars,
Right.
So.
Right. And the funny thing, I'm not trying to get to you, but Veg, you bring up a great point, is that one of the key things is that the same thing, because Ace was like, well, Tip did all the beats, he did all that. But I'm like, we didn't know that then. Like, again, you're taking what we know now and going back in time and trying to shift the narrative. At that time, everybody thought Ali did the beats. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we didn't look at it like it was Tip's group to carry. You know what I mean? And like you said, when Low End dropped, all I know is everybody that I knew in my high school, in my neighborhood, loved Butter. That was their favorite track. It wasn't even Scenario. It was Butter. That's what everybody loved. You know what I mean? Or then when I think what video and it switched to bugging out, Fife on bugging out was crazy. And even to Ace's point, because he brings up valid points to me, not for this argument, but it was, well, Tip had, look, he had Excursions, he had Verse from Abstract, you know, Tip had all these songs where it was just him, and I'm like, that's cool, but Fife was still part of the group. So again, if you wanted to say Tip carried more of the lyrical load in Tribe, I got no beef with that. But to call Fife a hype man, that's where the problem comes in. Like, if you want to say Tip did 70% of work and Fife did 30 or 60-40, I'm good with that. But when you call someone who was a vital part of that group an MC, and I'm like, if you look at all the singles from Low End and Midnight, they were Fife. Fife was on them. So none of the solo joints that Tip had were ever singles. So like that. Now, Tron, what do you think, bro?
I totally disagree. What's the dude from who passed away from the Lost Boys?
Freaky Time.
Freaky Time was a hype man.
Right.
You know, that's a hype man. Fife was rhyming, man. Microphone check 1 2. What is this? What did he say? When the first time he heard of Funky Diabetic? Fife is one of the only MCs I can think of with a posthumous album that sounds like he's still alive. It's a great album. I don't know if y'all heard his last album that he did. Yeah. So I disagree, man. Fife was not a hype man. He's a core part of Tribe Called Quest. So Ace, you bugging out, man.
Yeah, I like that, bugging out. But and two, he has too many quotables, man. You know, used to have a crush on Dawn from En Vogue. It's not like Honey Dip will want to get with me, but just in case I own more condoms than TLC. Like, it's just too many quotables to be a hype man. Like JR, it was like when we was at the thing and they was talking about Vin Rock, and I was like, the titty feeling villain, because that's the only thing I know about Vin Rock.
Titty feeling villain.
You know, that's it. He's a titty feeling villain. Like that's the only quotable I got for you. But JR, who you got up your list, bro?
So we can start with anybody. Doesn't even matter.
Yeah, start wherever you want.
All right, so I'm gonna go with let's see. It's 3. I gotta put them all together for real, as far as producers for real. And I'm gonna say Devontae, Dave Hall,
very dope,
and Brian Alexander Morgan. Them 3 do not get the respect that they deserve, because to me, everybody goes from Teddy, L.A. Reid, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, straight to Timbaland and all of them and the Neptunes, and they skipped them 3. And them 3 really took it from the New Jack to what we have now. You know what I mean? And them 3 is always, they never get their respect like that. It's like they brush over them. And I'm like, who was it? Brian doing what he did with the SWV wouldn't have been. What Dave Hall was with Mary and all of this, it wouldn't have been what it been. And then it's Devontae with Jodeci changing faces, all these people he worked with, it wouldn't have been what it was. So I feel like them 3, like, deserve a lot more respect than what they get, and I really feel like they should put some respect on their name. When you got Jimmy Jam out there saying, yeah, I grabbed the It's About Time album to see what I'm gonna do with Janet. You know what I mean? Like, that's big right there. And then he was like, yeah, I was seeing what Dave Hall was doing with Mary. Him? This is Jimmy Jam saying this, and y'all not respecting these 3? I got a problem with that. So those 3 I gotta put together for real.
I think the hard part with the boy Brian is that he didn't have that name that was out there. You know what I mean? Like, one of those things where it was like, back in those days, I remember people still really not knowing what a producer does. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's almost the gift and the curse. It's like the curse of, now we have to go back. Now that we know, now we have to kind of go back and kind of put you in that place, which is harder to do because we didn't know. Even with Tip, like, now we all have to go back and put him as the producer of the group, because during that time we didn't know, you know. And with SWV, I mean, I love that album. I don't know anybody who didn't love that album, but I didn't know who produced it until I met you. Now, I mean, I've seen the name, I've read the name of the credits, but because he didn't have that name, you know what I mean? And the same with Dave Hall. It's like, I know Dave more than I know Brian, but it's just like, again, I think if you're not in that limelight, especially during those early to mid 90s, it was very hard to be seen as an R&B producer. You know what I mean? We only probably knew the hip hop producers, y'all, because they was in the group. You know what I mean? We knew he did it because he was in the group. We knew Primo did it because Primo was in the group. We knew Pete did it because Pete was in the group. Like we like with Devontae, I feel like we knew because he was in Jodeci. Now he needs respect put on his name because we knew Devontae. We saw the stuff he was doing with Usher and other people and stuff like that. But I think with Dave Bryan, they were just so in the background. Because I think at that time, as a producer, you were supposed to be in the background.
You were right.
We weren't in the era of you don't want your executive producer all up in the video. We weren't at that point yet. We were still at the point where the producer is just in the back. We don't know anything like that. So I mean, but great picks all. But it's just like I think that's the thing. Cal, who you got up next?
I'm going Pioneer for my first one. Crash Crew. Crash Crew. Talking about I don't know. It was some
Crash Crew, man.
Crash. Someone was talking about singing on records and stuff. Crash was the first group I remember singing on records. I think the writer was talking about Drake was like the first person singing on records. I mean, you can go back to the 90s for that, even before that. But I'm like, Crash Crew, high power rap, Breaking Bells, which is kind of like what Take Me to the Mardi Gras, was first being used on the radio. They were like, I thought that, most people talk about Furious 5, Cold Crush, Fantastic Five, like those early groups, but Crash Crew seems to get left out of the mix. I think, like I said, they were singing on records, rhyming at the same time, so a lot of people don't give them any respect.
Yeah, that's a great pick, man. That's a great pull because, truth be told, I don't even know a lot about the Crash Crew. Not as much as what I probably should know. I know the name, I know some songs, but definitely, like you said, they're definitely one of those groups that, who need that respect put on their name. And for us all, myself included, to even do more research on them. So, that's a dope pull. That's a dope pull. Now, Tron, what you got up, bro?
The first guy I got he hails from Cincinnati. He did 2000 Seasons, Reflection Eternal, and that's High Tech.
He's on my list too.
He's on my list too, bro.
Good one.
And he's still recently. I just started digging him up because I'm like, I just listened to Reflection Eternal maybe earlier this year. He has a new beat series that he came out with 4 different beat series he does from different areas, but he's super dope, man. He did Round and Round. He has his solo projects, but yes, all just a dope producer who doesn't really get talked about, not even on the timeline. I don't really see his name. You see the RZAs, the Havocs and the Premiers and the Pete Rocks, but you don't really see High Tech get mentioned. And he's from the Midwest. I don't know if that's the reason why, but they should put some more respect on High Tech's name. So, bro,
I got High Tech. I got High Tech's 3-album run from 98 to 2001 with Black Star, with Train of Thought, and his High Technology album. Those 3 albums is a hell of a run. The Black Star, Definition, Redefinition, Respiration, probably my 3 favorite songs on there and 3 favorite beats. Respiration is probably one of my favorite beats ever. The Train of Thought album with Move Something, The Blast. I just was talking about that album this week, which is incredible. The High Technology, which to me is one of my top 5 producer albums ever, which was crazy. And during that run, you got 199 with Calm off of Sound Bomber 2, which was crazy. And then you also had little joints you had floating around like Techzilla with Calm. So there was some joins out there for that. To me now, I don't think it's a Midwest thing. I think the problem with Tech was at times could be very Dilla-ish. And I even heard Dilla had little problems like with the hand claps and the bass tones. Like, you starting to sound a little like me, Playboy. You know what I mean? But I think it's just because he doesn't really have that anthem. You know what I mean? When you say, here's a great question. And maybe y'all think. I think if you take Shook Ones out of Mobb Deep's catalog, I don't think Havoc name gets mentioned as much. Not saying it doesn't get mentioned, but I don't think it gets mentioned as much without Shook. Like if you don't have Shook Ones, I think it's like, Have is dope, but it's like, nigga, that ain't shook ones. You know what I mean? With RZA, he has all his, you know what I mean, bangers. He has all his anthems. You know what I mean? And I think that's the one thing that High Tech didn't really have. Like his anthems were like underground anthems. Like 199 is an 889 anthem. You know, shook season. Ones, shook ones was a epic. That's not just on Stretch and Bob. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference. And I feel like Tech had those Stretch and Bob bangers. He had those anthems. But when you talk about the Pete Rock, they reminisce. I think if you take They Reminisce out of Pete Rock's discography, his name may not be mentioned as much. Not saying it doesn't get mentioned, but
you think so?
I think you're right. You know what? When you say it like that, I think you're right.
I mean, just because the average listener is just going to go to Troy.
Right.
Not even the average listener. The average hip hop head may only go to Troy.
You're right.
Know? And then you may go Straighten It Out. And again, I'm not saying that they don't have other bangers because Straighten It Out was an amazing song. You know, all the Mecca and Soul Brother going into the main ingredient. Like, going to the main ingredient. All of that. But if you take that one out, I don't know if his name is mentioned as much. You know what I mean? So, what were you going to say now? I didn't mean to cut you.
I was asking if y'all don't. The Blast wasn't that one to take him out of here.
Nah,
it just was.
Dope. Yeah. I don't know about
it was dope, but bro, I remember being at parties. Kel, you can attest this at Morgan. It was a roller skating ring over on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah,
and I will never forget.
Shake and bake.
It's still there now.
They played Shook Ones, bro. I thought it was a tsunami was gonna come through. Everybody, shorties, dudes, everybody getting on the skates with that's the Blast ain't that. And again, that's no knock towards the Blast, but there's a difference between a banger and an anthem. Like, and I just don't think High Tech has an anthem where you just say Cream. I mean, any shorty knows Cream. You know what I mean? Yeah. So again, it's like all of the greats have that anthem. And I just don't think.
Does Primo have one?
I think Primo has so many. I mean, I think Mass Appeal was an anthem. DeWick was huge when DeWick came out. You know what I mean? DeWick was huge. But again, it's all because he was in Gangstar. So during the height of hip hop, this is one of the biggest hip hop groups. Reflection Eternal, dropped in 2000. So they missed that whole 90s boat, you know? And to be honest with you, if you dropped during the 90s, you may have not even gotten the love you got, not because you weren't dope, but just because you had Pete and Sia. There was just so much. The competition was fiercer back then. But yeah, I mean, I think that's why, because Tech to me is one of the illest producers. But again, I just don't think he has that undeniable. He doesn't have a nothing but a G thing. You know, that when you put that on, everybody is just gonna know every single word to it. The Blast is close, but I personally don't think it's big enough to get him mentioned with those people. It's almost like winning championships. Like I always tell people, Dwayne Wade has had an amazing career. That nigga's not in the same area code as LeBron James. Like nobody's talking about Dwayne Wade may be one of the top 3 basketball players ever. You know, and it's not to discredit his career, but he's not LeBron. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like people have problems with that, but I'm like, it's just the facts. I've never heard any human being say, I think Dwayne Wade is a top 3 GOAT basketball player. I haven't heard top 10. Shit, I haven't heard top 20. But you hear that with LeBron. Not with Dwayne Wade, because I could run you off his accolades. Dwayne Wade won a motherfucking NBA Finals by his goddamn self when Miami beat the Mavs. Shaq was there, but if you was outside at that time, I had niggas hit my phone like, this nigga Wade is crazy. Like,
it was like Wade game in the finals.
Yeah. Wade won that. But is he top 3 ever? Nah. So even though he's had a great career, you're not LeBron. So Tech has had a great career. You're not Premier. You're not Pete Rock. And again, it's not based off of the talent. It's just is what it is. Vay, what's good, baby?
What's up, man? Still at work.
Hey, it's part of the game, bro. Just a daily reminder that the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So that's all I care about is the Eagles hat.
Yes,
That's it.
that did.
I was gonna say that too.
That did happen.
Right.
Vay, who you got up, bro? What you got for your first joint?
For my first one, I got Big Boy from Outkast. I think nowadays, people are so enamored with Andre 3000, they forget he got like 5 albums with this dude, Big Boy, who also has a couple of solo albums that are great, that carry on what people liked about Outkast. But everybody, jumps at a Andre 3000 verse or lack thereof. But they kind of ignore Big Boy, and it's like, sure, they're not the same. Like, how whack would that be? As far as styles and stuff like that. But he was dope into himself, and was similar. I remember like when Speakerbox Love Below dropped, I was like, this Speakerbox CD is fucking crazy. Like I like the Love Below, and it's different, and I like that it's experimental and all of that. But if we just talking about what we know of Outkast and what was on that CD, which is supposed to be the Big Boy part, that shit was arguably better than the other half.
Yeah.
But I just think people I think they like the idea now of just fanning out for Andre 3000, you know what I'm saying, and ignoring Big Boy as if he wasn't right there for all the same hits like AT Aliens and Miss Jackson. Like, his verses are memorable also. But yeah, I think they need to put more respect on Big Boy name. He's not like Andre's fucking chauffeur and shit. He's an equal partner in the group. Like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, look, he's not his hype man, since you don't know the definition of hype man, because you just throwing the shit wherever you go.
He ain't playing no damn flute, so that's good too.
Yeah, right.
He ain't playing no flute.
Yo, Big Boy, of course, is on mine, man. I mean, like Vay, you said, this joint right here is a 5 mic classic to me personally. I don't know if nobody else agrees with it.
On that
this is a 5 mic classic. This is a very dope album. Boomerverse, this was his last joint. This joint is a solid 4 to me. Vicious Lies. What was this? Like Vicious. He be having crazy titles like Vicious Lies and Something Rumors. This was crazy. And again, I think it's and we're gonna have to do a show just about like people just trying to change hip hop history. Like, I was outside when Southern Playalistics dropped. Nobody was saying 3000 was better. I was outside. In fact, I lived in Atlanta when AT Aliens dropped, and nobody was saying Andre was better. I was outside. I was hosting Strictly Hip Hop again when Aquemini dropped, and nobody was saying. Now, I can't say people were starting to be like, damn, yo, Dre is killing it. But I still wasn't hearing any conversations about Andre is better or Andre. I was there for Stankonia. You know what I mean? Again, I wasn't hearing these conversations. Like you said, Vay, Speakerbox Love Below. Now, trying to talk about Anthem, I like the way you move. Like, nigga, that was everywhere. You know what I mean? I know Hey was everywhere too, but let's not act like I like the way you move wasn't everywhere. And he just dropped a joint maybe 3 years ago with Sleepy Brown, The Big Sleepover, which was dope too. But I think somewhere once social media kind of came about, and even before social media, I'll even take it back to like 2000s. Once we got those boards like OK Player and the breaks and all those things, and now you start getting all these people from all over the world coming in, kind of giving their 2 cents. Somehow it just morphed into this whole structure of 3000 was better, and all we care about is 3000. And like I said, we did a show, Apartment 5B, like, yo, rappers you would want to hang out with. Yo, if I want anybody to give me a tour, ATL is Big Boy. I do not want to hang out with 3000 when I go to Atlanta. Not the fuck at all. Okay? Now, I don't want Dre to pick me up from the airport. I don't want that nigga to take me back to the airport. I want Big Boy to pick me up from the airport, and I want Big Boy to drop me back off at the airport. So again, I just think somewhere with social media and just all this online, shit, it's literally like you just get shit like this. Like, Big Boy just wasn't shit, and that was never the narrative when it was happening. So that's my thing. Well, with did you have Big Boy too, Cal? I thought somebody else had Big Boy.
No, I didn't.
Okay, cool. All right, just checking. Well, what you got up next, bro?
So this is put some respect on people's name, right? That's the title. All right. I got Havoc, the rapper, the producer.
Dope pick.
Yeah, I think again, right. And then again, even the Mobb Deep days, like Prodigy was it was a time Prodigy was like up, like probably the 96 might have been the best groove, right? You know what I'm saying? But if you listen to these albums, Havoc is holding it down. And then when Prodigy took a dip, Havoc carried them. You know what I'm saying? And nobody says that. They give him his props as a producer, but they forget what he did as an MC. And when that's another one of them groups, like when you have somebody that's so popular like P, and they sleep on Hav, but there was a time where Hav held that group down when P was going through, you know, stuff that he was going through. So Havoc is my first one.
That's a dope pull, Rel. And I think one of the things about that is those are conversations I've had in real life. You know what I mean? I've had those conversations of, yo, when P kind of dipped, Hav like, yo, y'all not really paying attention. This nigga Hav is actually kind of bringing up a little closer to what y'all really think it is. Like Hav is really coming with some bars, but like you said, at that time, it was just like 96P was like just on a whole nother level. You know what I mean? And I think the cool thing that I like about what the Lock said with the verses was like, yo, we ain't got no problem letting Kiss sign. Kiss is in his bag. Let him do his thing. Like if he scoring the rock, keep passing him the rock. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, yo, if P is doing his thing, keep passing P the rock. Like there shouldn't be something wrong with, yo, well, P shining. Well, okay, but I'm doing something too. You know what I mean? So, but that's a great pick because, like I said, those are at least conversations I've had in real life. But then when you go on Twitter, it's like crickets when it's about Havoc as, you know, an MC. And then I've had people say, well, Havoc can't do that. He don't even got a solo album. And I'm like, the silent partner. Like, that's not a thing. Half you niggas be talking about shit that y'all don't even know what the fuck y'all be talking about. Like, that's the other problem. You know what I mean? So, great pull with that one, Rel. I'll stick with, you know what? I'm going to Philly, man. I'm going with Malik B. Because another nigga who follows me at producer _ fly.
Oh my God.
Y'all gonna stop saying that. Y'all gonna stop saying that shit on my timeline. I'm calling niggas out. At producer _ fly and dust. We were saying something about Black Thought, and he was like, well, basically, you could include all the Roots albums because they were basically Black Thought solo albums. And I'm just like, oh God, like, what are you talking about? So we just really gonna sit back here and act like Malik B did not exist. You know what I mean? And my thing was kind of like what I was saying earlier about Ace is that, yeah, now you look at, now in 2025, when you think of the Roots, you do think of Questlove and Black Thought. Because they've been through like fucking 437 other fucking members over the years. Like it's been 10 keyboard players, 2 tuba players, fucking 2 bass players. It's too many of them motherfuckers. So yes, now you do, but I know when I saw this story, and I'm gonna take from not understanding of knowing about the Square Roots before they got a deal, before Pass the Popcorn. I'm gonna just take it from the regular casual viewer of Rap City. You see Distortion and Static, you see Thought and Malik. You see Proceed, you see Thought and Malik. Nobody gave a fuck about the drummer with an afro. Nobody cared about the boy. So in 2025, that's what it is. But in 1994, it wasn't. That's what it wasn't. So to just sit here and act like Malik didn't exist, and I'm tired of it because it's the same thing with Fife. Malik was going bar for bar with Thought. Listen to 100% Dundee. There are so many joints because here's the thing. And this is what I was telling the boy who said this about Thought is like Malik is literally running parallel lines with Fife. So would you ever say that A Tribe Called Quest is basically Tip solo work? No. So then why are you saying the exact same thing about Thought? Because you can sit back and be like, yo, Malik really wasn't on the second album, on the first album like that. What's up? Then boom, he come out the second album. It's like, oh shit. My favorite Roots song, period, is No Great Pretender. My favorite Roots song is a song that don't even got Black Thought on it. So how can you sit there and say that Black Thought's Roots solo, all the Roots discography is basically Black Thought solo? What you gonna say, Aveg?
It just sounds weird because like I don't know what cats were doing around this time when these things dropped, or how into hip hop, or maybe they came to the Roots later. But nobody was saying these things, and like you said, when you think about, I see a theme developing, and it's using Black Thought as an example. That Hot 97 freestyle said to niggas he has been this in whatever scenario you want to come up with, even though we know when it was like when I first heard Clones and shit, it was like I was hearing MCs spitting. I wasn't hearing one dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a little bit of that where it's like there's the recency biases, like you mentioned earlier with Q-Tip. It's kind of like, okay, well, who is he now? And who's Malik B? He's been going from the group, but he was there when they were probably the best when it came to the lyrical content or whatever. Right. But yeah, that's just disrespectful. And there's no way you was listening to the Roots back then thinking this is only Black Thought. That sounds crazy.
And I will say this, that the dude went on to say, after I gave my Malik soliloquy and so many nice words, that he really didn't start really fucking with the Roots until Phrenology. And I'm like, well, nigga,
what?
Said
that, hey, pack that nigga up. Back him up. Pack that nigga up, man.
You should have said that in the beginning. Now, here's the thing that I try to understand. Niggas are younger. Niggas are online. They left this whole shit. They left the whole shit. And I said, but bro, you got to understand. And I get it, because the Roots may have had another 97 albums out after things fall apart. So I can't be mad because of all the albums that they have. So people become fans at certain times. And you know how people are. And this is why I always try to do with this show, is try to tell people where should they start. So, Veg, you made a great point. That Black Thought freestyle. These are the two times in life that I saw the internet just multiply things to a whole new division. Before that freestyle, Black Thought was probably one of the most slept on MCs, period. Yep. No one said his name. No one talked about him. No one wanted to get a feature with Black Thought up until that time. I remember Pun was one of the only niggas who had a Black Thought feature, was Pun on Super Lyrical. You know what I mean? Which, when you think about it, don't even make sense, because they don't even seem like they would even be in the same realms of each other. But Pun just respected his bar game. You know what I mean? And I think then the next one was I think he was on Talib's Gorilla Monsoon. But for a long time, you were not seeing any Thought features. And Thought would be like, niggas are scared. They don't want to get on. They don't want to go bar for bar. So prior to that Flex, so if the Flex freestyle happened that Wednesday at 8 p.m., Wednesday at 7:45 p.m., Thought was one of the most underrated rappers ever. Thought by 8 p.m. was the GOAT. He was the greatest rapper that ever walked the planet Earth. He literally went from, in 45 minutes, the most slept on MC to, oh, he's the GOAT. Oh, he's in my top 5. And I saw the same thing happen with the Locks. Before that versus battle, the Locks was like, they're top 25, top 30 group. And Jadakiss, probably top 20. Nigga, after, Locks top 3 group ever. Kiss, Dead or Alive, best ever. In this internet world, everything gets multiplied by like 100,000. It's just instant, because there's no way you go from being the most slept on MC to being the GOAT. Now, after that freestyle, I literally see people say like, no, Black Thought is the GOAT. Period. Point blank, period. He's the GOAT. But here's the wild part. The only thing that sold you on that was a freestyle, and no disrespect to the freestyle. I'm not trying to say like the freestyle wasn't incredible. Right. But what took you from being underrated to literally being the GOAT? Like, what took you from being a 4th round draft pick to being the number 1 draft pick was 13 minutes. Wow. What are you going to say, Vec?
I was going to say, also remember that he didn't have no actual solo until after that freestyle, because we were begging for it for years. The actual heads, were begging for a solo. But after that freestyle, he started pumping them joints out. I guess I got to say pause. Fuck y'all kids. But you know what I'm saying? I just feel like, yo, it's. Well, I agree with you, Kill, because I had a dude do that to me at a conference, saying, who had the best Funk Master Flex freestyle, and then he just cut me off and be like, Black Thought, right? And I was like, you ever heard of Fred the Godson?
Bro, you in my head, because I take Fred's freestyle over Black Thought freestyle any
He
day.
ain't that.
It's a couple
God bless the dead, man. God bless the dead.
There's a couple of people who, but again, like you said, there's just and I get it. If Homie came into the Roots at that point in time, that's a very different Roots group,
right?
At that point in time, but definitely do the knowledge of what they were, and don't go back. But again, this nigga.
But Vang, it goes back to what you said about Tribe. It's like, what are their two classics? Low End and Midnight. The Roots two classics are Illadelph and Things Fall Apart.
Right.
Like, that's it. And I get it with the Roots, because I'm not giving these boys a pass, but I understand, because, okay, they're on Jimmy Fallon. And you know what most people don't do? They don't do their homework. So it's like, I like the Roots. Let me look them up on Apple. What's the first album that comes up? Oh, and then I Shot Your Cousin. Okay, let me go to that. You know what I mean? So most boys are like, okay, they're on Fallon. So I understand you could become a Roots fan at different plays, but to just sit there, what we're not going to do is, it's really scary how similar Tribe and the Roots are. Like, dead ass. Because I was just about to sit here and think, like, you ain't going to talk about Malik because he dead. And I'm like, oh shit, Fife is dead too. Like, and his name is Malik. And the two boys who don't get no respect put on their name is both in that same situation. They both have passed away. It's just crazy how they walk. But yeah, I was just about to say, we got to stop this stuff, y'all. We got to stop. Because the sad part is, there's someone out there who's following you and like, wait a second, Fife was a hype man? Like, no. Like, let's dead this shit right now, y'all. Like, this is how hip hop, you know how Trump is trying to change history and erase the black history? We be doing that shit ourselves with hip hop. We don't even need no racist president to come in and do it. We do it ourselves, being decisive and saying shit like, oh, well, Black Thought was a solo. I mean, the Roots was basically Black Thought solo group. Like, come on, y'all. Stop. JR, what you got up next, bro?
I'm gonna keep it in Philly. I'm gonna say Tom Bell. I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves at all. When he died, that's when everybody was like, "Oh, okay, great." But nobody was giving him love like that on the timeline before then. And what this man did, he's actually like the third partner of Philly International, but nobody don't know that. But he was like the solid partner for real. But what he did, kind of Gamble and Huff kind of stayed with who they got, you know what I mean? And that was it. Tom Bell was like, I'm branching out. I'm going to go get the spinners from Motown and make them huge. You know what I mean? I'm going to work with Denise Williams and give her something. I'm going to work with this person and give them something. So he brought more people and gave them more hits and all that. But it's just like when you think of Philly International, everybody just goes straight to Gamble and Huff, which is fine. But he's also the third partner of that, and what he has done for Sigma Sounds as well, I feel like he deserves to get some credit. So he's one of the ones. So since you went to Philly, I went that way too.
Nah, dope. Kel, who you got up next, bro?
I'm gonna go to Queens, of course. So
did we think you were going to another borough? I didn't.
Right.
No, Paul C. So I think Paul C.
Yeah.
Paul C.
Yeah. Nigga.
I saw something on Instagram talking about, they listed like all the artists they work with. It's like in a 2.5 period. You saw that too?
Yeah.
Like Barrow, the obviously Organized.
Ultramagnetic.
Magnetic. Super Love C, Casting Up Rudd. Steezo. Latifah. He was doing stuff with Latifah. Biz.
Yo, here's the wild part, man. I saw something about that, and I got to really do the background on this because I've been hearing a lot of different things here and there about beats. But they said that he did Just a Friend for Biz, and he did Ladies First for Latifah. And I kind of got to do some research on that.
Research that one, yeah.
For people watching, I want to say, I don't know who did Just a Friend. I don't think him and Marley had stopped messing around. But I know Ladies First was 45 King.
45 King, right.
You know what I mean? So I got to do some research on that. So I don't know if that's
somebody did some engineering. So I don't know if that.
He may have did some engineering on that, but again, this is how shit starts getting changed. So yeah, we gotta do that. You know, one of the things, Kel, I realized watching these YouTube things. You know, go on YouTube and it'd be like hip hop. If it's not your voice, I don't even listen to it because you got some old AI voice. You got some old AI voice. And that means to me, you either don't want to put your name out there or you just looking for clicks and views and you don't really know about the culture and you just did a Wikipedia dive and now you just doing this. But please keep going with Paul C.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it almost goes like you said, Malik B, Fife, he got killed. So I think a lot of people forget about him. You know, he mentored Large Professor. So I think, you know, you think of that. The Ghetto, he did let the rhythm hit from Irving Rakim. His name just gets lost in the mix.
Yeah. There's a Paul C, man. I mean, me even being a young boy at the time, but just being a liner note junkie, I remember seeing that name. I mean, you talking about, y'all know my top 3 favorite hip hop album ever is Ultramagnetic's Critical Beatdown. You know, that was Paul C. And again, it's in the air about producing, engineering, because just in '88 it was hard. People really didn't have the right definition for what a producer did. You know what I mean? Casanova Rudd was on Apartment 5B, and he was saying, no, he produced the album, but Paul engineered. He helped give him records here and there. You know what I mean? So again, it's in that place of, but understanding that producing in 1988 was engineering to some extent. It was, you know, you bringing me a record and saying, hey, I like this, but what can you do with it? You know, Organized Confusion. You know, like you said, the Eric B. and Rakim stuff. I mean, Large Professor's production company is called Paul C. Productions, based off of Paul C. And from what I heard, I've heard the stories of nobody could work at SB 1200 like him. And if you hear from people in that era, you then would hear Large Professor had taught Primo how to use the SB12, and it kind of passed because you would hear people say nobody knows how to use the SB12 like Large Pro, really based off of what Paul C. did. Like you said, he was murdered. We had Prince Poe on the writer's bench once, and he was saying how he went to his crib the day after, and the cops kind of hemmed him up, like, yo, why you coming here to see this white dude? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, yo, I just got a studio session, but you got these black dudes coming to your house, and it's like, yo, he just got murdered, you know? And I remember reading an article, and people were mad at Super Lover seeing Casanova Rudd because I think they was dealing at the time. So they was like, yo, did y'all bring some shit to the thing like that? So very an incredible producer, life cut short, but definitely I agree with you 100% on Paul C, man. Yeah, much. And again with Paul, he unearthed one of my favorite records right here, the Skull Snaps. This break, he used this on the drums you hear on Steezo's It's My Turn. These are the Skull Snap breaks, and to me that was the first time this break beat was used. So definitely Paul C is definitely dope. Now, Tron, who you got up next, bro?
Next producer I got is Georgia Ann Muldrow. I'm not sure if anybody.
Yeah.
She's based out of LA. She's worked with Badu. She's worked with Madlib. She can sing. She can MC. She can produce her butt off. She plays everything. She doesn't really sample too much. And a few years ago, she put out an album with Elzhi called Zeitgeist.
Yeah,
it's a really dope album, man. Not too many people talk about, and I don't know too many female producers that work at that speed. She has over a dozen solo projects, and she still tours. Amazing artist, amazing producer. So I thought I would just share that with the people watching that. And she's still here. She's still alive. So yeah.
That joint she did with Elzhi was real dope too, man. So
yes,
cats haven't definitely check into that. Vague, what you got up next, bro?
Up next, I have a producer. I have Mathematics out of the Wu-Tang.
And out of Queen.
Yeah, out of Queen.
Yo, I swear to God, yo, you could probably
You see that,
right? He doesn't get enough credit for being there early. and producing things that most people don't think he produced, and he continued like throughout the Wu's whole history. First and foremost, he made the logo, if you didn't know that.
Man.
Then he became a road DJ. Then he's been producing again from the beginning. He's produced on Iron Flag. He's produced on, I think he did Mighty Healthy on Supreme Clientele, which is crazy. That beat is crazy. And more importantly,
Bang at 101 too.
he did Banger 101, Supercalifragilistic, that shit.
That's that shit.
Your weed got more C's than ODB, that joint. But most importantly, people have been wanting RZA to do Wu-Tang albums forever, and he does them, but nobody ever likes them, so they only talk about those two. But the Wu-Tang albums that Mathematic does reminds you of what you want from RZA, and they always sound like Wu projects, and it's Mathematics. He did it on he's doing it on this album that's coming out, but the last one I think was like 2017, the Saga Continues. That joint was dope. It was like the Wu album we would want, but because RZA didn't do it, which we don't want, because RZA doesn't believe in going back. He said that in his interview with what's his name, Rick Rubin. Like, he doesn't believe in retreading ground he's already covered. So that's why the Wu stuff sounds like trash. You know what I'm saying? But when Mathematics on the boards, it's like, oh, there's the Wu sound we looking for. Like, what's going on? So I think he deserves more props. I think people are going to pay more attention this time for some reason because of the way it was rolled out. And RZA, I think RZA kind of stamped it, like new Wu album coming out with the homie Mathematics, like kind of forcing you, like, yo, he got it. He got what y'all want. So I think he need to get more props for what he's done with the Wu on a number of solo albums, including Jizza and everybody else throughout the years. So.
Yeah, I think with Mathematics, and I'll speak for me, and I wonder what everybody else thinks. I will admit that I'm caught up in, like, Wu-Tang is a RZA produced album. Like, we've had these conversations on the timeline. Like, I think Black Milk did that. Like, Black Milk produced a Cypress Hill album, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Because Cypress Hill is Muggs. Like, that's it. Muggs has to produce this for this to be a Cypress Hill album. So I'm one of those people who is trapped in, I don't care if it's one of those things where it's the gift and the curse. Like, you're behind RZA. You know what I mean? Now, that's a gift too, because you probably learn so much and you have all these connections, but it's also the curse because JR, we did the show of Apartment 5B, Standing in the Shadows of, and it's kind of like you can't get your life off because this person is in front of you. And as long as RZA is there, I don't care. Mathematics could produce the most craziest Wu album in the world, but you know what? If it don't say RZA, it's almost like it don't count. You know what I mean? And that's messed up, even in my mind. You know what I mean? But again, it's just like, for all I know, Black Milk could have given Cypress Hill the best album of their career, or since the first debut album. But I'm like, I will admit, I'm one of them dudes like putting on my headphones, like, not to listen, but not to hear it. But it's like, where's Muggs? Like, I don't even know how y'all linked up. Like, what, did y'all buy weed off of Black Milk? Like, how did this even come together to be like, yo, you should produce a whole Cypress Hill album? Like, I won't hold you. I've kind of felt that way about Alchemist. I'm one of those few people who's not a big fan of Alchemist producing Mobb Deep, because to me, Mobb Deep is Havoc. Even though he has bangers for them, but it's just still like, but that's not Mobb Deep. Like, Mobb Deep is produced by this person. This ain't that freaky. It's almost like, you know what? Forget it. We just gonna move on. We just gonna move on. We gonna move on. So I just
editing.
Yeah. Well, it's really not. It's 2025. I just think it's kind of like when you hear about people who have open marriages. Maybe 5 years ago, it was like gasp, like clutch your pearls, like, oh, you like y'all open, but it's kind of like that. It's like, yo, if I know you and her, then who is she? Or like, if I know you and him, then who is he? Like, it just doesn't feel right. Because it's like, when I think of Mobb Deep, I'm thinking Prodigy and Havoc does the beats. I don't want a Pete Rock and CL Smooth produced album by Dilla. Like, and I love Dilla, but I want Pete and CL.
Right.
To be a Pete and CL album, I need Pete to do. I don't want to hear a Gangstar album produced by Guru sidekick that we didn't know we had for years. Like, I want a Gangstar. A Gangstar album has to be produced. So it's like, I'm looking at this marriage, you know, that's Candy and Troy. I don't want to hear about Candy, Troy, and Tanisha. Like, no, where's Candy and Troy? But what were you gonna say, Greg?
I was going to say I feel the same way, but the difference is Pete Rock's beats are still good. RZA's beats are not good.
Right.
But I think
He's done newer projects with the Woo, and we like, nah, you know.
But I still think it's the nostalgia. And again, this is the gift and the curse. This is the time that I brought my homeboy over here, and he knew I had all these beat CDs from producers, and he's a big Ninth Wonder fan. I was playing them beats, and I was like, yeah, this Ninth Wonder beat tape. He's like, God damn it, this nigga is GOAT. This motherfucker is the GOAT, kill. This nigga, you told you this motherfucking Ninth Wonder is the dopest producer out there. Nigga's the dopest. I was like, nigga, these my beats. He was like, oh, hey, yeah, these good, kill. They're good. I'm like, oh, I ain't the GOAT no more. I ain't the GOAT now. I ain't the GOAT. They was good. So again, and again, like I said, I'll be honest, I get caught up in names too, you know, but people get caught up in names. Like, I think right now, Alchemist can do no wrong. This nigga could just drool on a song for fucking 15 minutes and just sample the drool, and somehow it would be the most incredible thing I've ever fucking seen in the world. Like, just dead ass. And y'all know me, I love Alchemist. He's my GOAT producer post 2000. But to keep it a buck, I saw a video, he was like, yeah, this is how I work with different people. And I'm like, do tell, because all these fucking beats sound the same to me. I don't hear shit different for you to be like, oh, when I'm with Larry June, I do this. And when I'm with Benny, I do. Nigga, all this shit sounds the exact fucking same. You know what I mean? But he's at that place where you can do no wrong. Like, even a joint with Erykah Badu, I'm listening to it and everybody's going crazy. And I'm like, this shit don't really sound that fucking great to me. Oh, like, I'm not jumping out the window and everybody, oh, aren't you excited? I'm like, not really. I'm not excited at all about no Alchemist Erykah Badu album. Like, not really. I hope it's better than this shit. Well, you hear how he sampled the Barry White? Nigga, I heard. And yeah, like, no. Like, you know, but you just get to a point where you could just do whatever you want to do. And if people are going to like it, why keep doing the extra shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if people are buying all your raps and it's just the raps you do in an hour versus the raps you take time to really spend on after a while, it's like, well, shit, y'all like this so much? Fuck it, I'll give it to you. Like, why am I killing myself to do all these tricks and rewind this and find records from here and find drums and all y'all niggas want to do? Somebody sent me something. I don't know if y'all saw this. Like, it's Kanye on the ASR. Like, recently, this like, he did the Academics video, and this nigga was like, he's like, yo, kill Kanye is an evil genius. And I was like, this nigga sounds like a motherfucking 5-year-old who came in the studio and started just pressing keys on the ASR 10. This beat is not dope. Like, let's stop, y'all.
Is he wearing
like,
a
please.
black? Is he wearing a black KKK outfit while he's doing it?
No.
I know it's talking about.
He's regular, but this is not no genius level beat. Like, this really is not. He literally is just playing some. It's bad. I'm sorry, Ralph. What's going on, bro? What you got up next, man?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in Queens. My man Kel, and I feel like I'll be repeating myself.
This motherfucker done got a goddamn sign. I quit. Bro, when are you running for mayor, bro? Like, this just needs to be said. Go back. Move out of
After watching Eric Adams get his eyebrows done, I might put my name in the hat.
Bro, you gotta move back. Whoa, what happened?
Eric Adams did some video at Boston, actually sent me a video of him doing his eyebrows or something like that. In some,
But
I'm like, what is it? Yeah.
Just a,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna stay in Queens. I'm gonna go with the Beat Nuts. And I mention them all the time. They're one of my favorite groups. And you know, they were out in a time where there was a lot of dope music out, and I feel like not from us, but a lot they get overlooked. They get looked at for the one song that they had with Pun, but they got hit. They got heat, quality albums, like really good albums, like 4.5 to me. You know what I'm saying? Albums they produce, and you know they weren't the rapidy rap type of dudes, but Juju got quotables for days, and it just was just an underrated group that I feel like people need to put more respect on their name and mention them more when they talk about dope hip hop groups. So, Beat Nuts for me.
Nah. And bro, you know I agree 100%. I love the Nuts. They've always been. I'm not saying pause. I'll change it. I love the Beat Nuts. But I think the hardest thing with them is that they never produced a solo album for somebody else. Like everybody, all those other producers at the time, Pete, Preem, Have, everybody. And because they weren't the most rapidy rap people, I know a lot of hip hop heads who didn't really fuck with them because they was just like they like ABC-ish. You know what I'm saying? Vague, you said you didn't fuck with the Nuts like that? Yeah, like so I know a lot of people was like, yo, like I like the beats, but I just can't get with they rhymes. And I think maybe if they would have produced a Big Pun whole album, or they would have produced a Fat Joe whole album, or even the people they were producing were like all up and coming. So Chi Ali, so that really didn't count. Curious George, that didn't really count. You know, like the people that they were producing whole albums for weren't dope enough to really push their name to get in those conversations. Like I said, it's almost like if you look at it like the club and there's only 5 people letting this club, and you got your Premier, your P, your Large Pro, your Dre, and your Marley or your RZA, it's kind of like, what did the Beat Nuts do to kind of push to get one of those people out the room to get us in the room? And like you said, the only thing they're really known for is that one song with Pun. Now, let's just say if that song was on Pun's album and then they produced the whole album, we may be having a different conversation. But I think because they didn't produce for other people, and during the 90s, you had to be rapidy. Like you really had to be on some Lyrical Samurai shit. So by those two things happening, I think those are 2 reasons why we don't hear the Beat Nuts name more, and it's only me, you, and Juju who ever talk about them. I'm gonna go up with next. I'm going with, and I love this because I'm seeing this across the board. I'm going with Dilla, but as an MC, man. I love Dilla. You know, I just took Native C Tyler, the Creator, and I was banging my Best of Dilla tape, and Thelonious came on. Yo, his verse on Thelonious, yo, I love that shit, man. On Climax, off of Slum, like I just think Dilla had a whole lot of really dope. I mean, fuck the police, you know, making envy. Like Dilla, just to me, what he did with Madlib when they was rhyming over, he was rhyming over Madlib's beats, and Madlib was rhyming over Dilla beats. I mean, and then that joint that never really officially came out, The Diary, that was going to be his album where it was just other producers. He didn't produce nothing on it. I think it was, what was it? It was Madlib, Pete, High Tech, Bink, Knots, Kareem Reed, because he just wanted to just rhyme and not have to worry about making the beats too. So I definitely think Dilla as an MC, we got to put some respect on his name. But I think he falls in the same category almost as the Beat Nuts, where because he wasn't Lyrical Miracle, that it kind of is just like, you know, he's cool, but it's almost like you only got taken serious as an MC if you were like a lyrical scholar. Like, it's almost like how people don't respect a GED. Like, yeah, nigga, I got my high school diploma and you got your GED, but as soon as you hear somebody got their GED, you be like, okay, nigga, like, we cool. Like, I get it, you know, but we both can go to college, but it's like, yeah, nigga, not you. Not with that one over there. So I think that's how it is. Like, you know, your Lyrical Miracle with your diploma, you can still have bars and you're still invited to come to college, but that GED, I don't know how much that shit is going to weigh. And it's kind of unfair. You know, it's unfair because I know a lot of people who did get their GED and they were in trouble. They got kicked out of school. They went in and out. And this was the best way to get them on their path, but it just doesn't equal up to that. So as dope as Dilla and the Beat Nuts may be as producers and even as MCs, without being Lyrical Miracle, it's almost like having your GED. People are always going to look. I feel like that's what happens. People look down on them. Like, yeah, they rhyme, but they don't rhyme. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like Chris Rock said, I just got my GED. Let's not talk about college just yet. What's up, Dave?
Yeah, it's kind of like, because I was like that with the Beat Nuts. Like, now, beat-wise, I thought they were nasty. Like, I always like their production skills. And the same thing with Dilla. But it's kind of that, right? Like, where it's the guy that makes the beats, y'all rhyming in the studio, but he can do a little 1-2 himself with the rhyming. But nobody's like, yo, why don't you make an album? They just know, oh, he can rhyme. Right. So it's kind of like that, where it's like Diamond D, right? Like he's cool, he's cool at it. You know, he ain't the D-Rock too. Like he's not. I'm not putting him up against the Jay-Z's and the Nas's and all that. But when it comes to like being competent with the spitting, the beat nuts, all of that, like they got bars too. So.
The funny thing, Veg, I think it always comes down to timing too, because hip hop was changing like every 2 years. So when Diamond came out, I want to say it was like 91, 92. You could rhyme like Diamond and still get over as an MC. You know what I'm saying? But once Nas came, that like the whole gambit changed. Like it was like no more just being able to Sally got a one-track mind and like I'm out of here. To me, is one of my favorite storytelling songs. But talking all loud, telling all the good parts, praying in my heart. Oh, I hope they don't start. Like if you would have spit that shit in 95, I would have been like, nigga, get the fuck out of here with them bars. You better put some triple entendres in that or some shit. But at the time, that was cool. And then I think about Kanye, because if you go post 2000, you didn't have to be as lyrical miracle anymore. Because when you talked about producers just rhyming in the studio, first person that came to mind was Kanye. And nobody's paying this nigga no mind. Like walking around the Rockefeller office rhyming, no mind. Like, and then boom, he gets on, and it's like I've never looked at Kanye as no lyrical miracle MC. In fact, I liked Kanye because he's lead back to the old MCs where you didn't have to be this lyrical samurai to get any type of respect. But I love that what you just said. Like you're just rhyming in the studio, and it's like, yo, you sound good, but ain't nobody like, yo, you should get a record deal. You know what I mean? So
like Tigger,
yeah. Tigger used to, if Tigger can freestyle, but nobody was ever like, nigga, why don't you get a record deal? Like nobody. I never saw any human being be like, yo, Kel, why don't you think Big Tigger got that fucking record deal yet? And ain't no record label ever go to that nigga either. Like you gotta keep in mind, anytime that a rapper came to 889, they had their label rep with them. So I know your label rep is with you going to Rap City. Ain't no label rep ever stepped to Tigger like, yo, boy, you got bars, bro. No, never. Never. I've seen Tigger spit better than the people who in the motherfucking studio.
No question.
And had a couple of times.
And still didn't get no record deal off. So very dope point. JR, who you got up next, bro?
I'm gonna say Keith Sweat as a producer.
Wow.
I'm loving this, man. I'm loving the producer as an MC as a producer.
Yeah, I mean, we don't give him all that for a singer now.
We know you don't.
But as a producer, he does not get, because a lot of that Make It Last album was damn near done before Teddy came on to play the keys.
I didn't know that.
Right.
So Teddy really didn't produce that first album?
No, he didn't. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna be like, Teddy wasn't there. Teddy played a lot of the keys on there, but Keith did do a lot of that production that everybody think is just Teddy, and it's not.
Okay.
And he obviously has been consistent because him and Teddy don't work with each other, and Keith has still been fine.
That's true.
So it's like he don't get that, and then he worked with Silk, and then he did, Cut Close, and he did Drew Hill, and he did, LSG, and then he did all of these, and he don't get respect as a producer. And when I went to the New Edition concert, and it was like, he kind of like reminds me of Babyface. He was like, I'm a stun on y'all motherfuckers just to show y'all, like, I ain't even gotta do my own shit. I'm gonna do the stuff that I produce. And he was on it for like a good 25 minutes just for the stuff that he produced and wrote. And I'm like, he don't get no credit. Everybody just give him his Keith Sweat singer, and that's it.
I was thinking that during the verses when he did with Bobby Brown, when he was like, oh, this is stuff that I wrote. And I was like,
Right. So, yeah.
And I think the thing is too, for me, JR, again, I wasn't really peeping liner notes for R&B like that. Because I really wasn't buying a lot of R&B like that. So I had no idea Keith even produced anything. You know what I mean? I figured maybe he wrote some stuff for Cut Close or whatever, but I never knew, like, okay, Keith was doing that. So that's dope. That's dope. I got to do some research on that. Cal, what you got up next, bro?
I'm gonna go R&B like JR. I'm going to go to Loose Ends.
True shit. Yes.
I think they get lost, 80s groups and stuff like that. Obviously, hanging on the string and slow down.
Yo, that hanging on the string. Here's the thing. Anybody who knows me knows I don't know lyrics. I thought for years it was like you got me hanging on Swing Town. I don't know what Swing Town was. I don't know what it was. Yo. And then I would see it online and they'd be like hanging on the string. I'm like, I don't know what loose ends song. I know loose ends. I'm like, oh shit. I don't know what Swing Town was. I just was like, hey, they from the UK. Maybe they do some shit over there different than
But exactly, I was going to say that too. Just think about the UK as far as like R&B in the UK. They have sound. You got Soul come a little bit later after them. But and I think most people now remember, just think of them for BMF. The dude Lamar singing "You Can't Stop the Rain" while it's killing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
yo, it's so crazy how your name comes back up for something like that. Like, damn, nigga, that's how we know. Like, that's how we got our name back out here. But hey, I guess
And people were tagging me on IG and Twitter. They were tagging what's her name, JR? I can't think of the lead singer.
From my Jane.
Yeah, Jane. Yeah, they're tagging her like, look, they got the song in the show. She's like, what are you talking about?
I hope they got paid for that.
Right, for real. Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. No, Tron, what you got up next, bro?
I'm gonna do singing, and this guy solo and with this group, his band, it's Jeffrey Osborne.
Wow.
LTD?
Yeah, LTD. Where did we go wrong? We both deserve each other's love. They play it at every wedding reception. You've heard his voice, and he just has one of those voices that nobody talks about. When they talk about male vocalists, Marvin, Luther, Donnie, Stevie, Prince, Mike, but they don't mention Jeffrey, and I think he really deserves. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say nothing to add on. He's the for a while in the '80s, like the Showtime Lakers, he was like the main singing the national anthem at every Laker game.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. I didn't know that. He's still touring. Matter of fact, he's coming here to do some gala in New Orleans in May. But yeah, he has an amazing voice, man. Just an awesome vocalist. So.
Ain't no nigga singing Love Ballad like him. Just period.
No one.
No one.
That's the classic right there. Love Ballad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good pig.
Yeah, that is a dope pick too. Now trying, because you right, Jeff's name you really don't hear anybody talk about him like that. But I'm always wondering, but I think that this is, JR, and I'm sure you can speak on this, is how do we pass on those legends? Because I feel like so many of those people from the 80s who were great just were like literally like their career ended like 1990. Like it ended and if not, it ended right when What's the 411 came out. Like I feel like 91 closed the door on the Jeffrey Osbornes, the Peebo Brysons, all of them. Like it's like literally the door shut. It wasn't like a slow burn. It wasn't like we're gonna give you a couple more. The door shut and it never got opened back up.
It's so crazy too with Jeffrey Osborne, because when you think about him, a lot of people think about him with LTD first, and not even with his solo career. But again, who did he have to deal with? Luther, Freddie, all of that. So then he had to deal with all that. And like you said, once 90 came, it was just that. It was a wrap for a lot of the dudes just standing in suits singing. And once Jodeci and them came, it was like, we not looking at that no more. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? Right. So it kind of...
and you couldn't put Jeffrey in no Timbs and no leather jackets. You couldn't try and do a Run DMC and Onyx them niggas. Like, for Down for the King, like, nigga, with shaven heads, Walker wear, Sticky, take these three niggas shopping. You couldn't do that to Jeffrey. You know what I mean? That just gonna look crazy. And again, I just think too, it's like, and I'm not saying it's bad about the Knicks, okay? I'm just saying that for the Pacers, for the Knicks, Jordan was just in the way. You take Michael Jordan out the way, the Knicks have it. They at least have one. You know what I mean? The Pacers may have one. So sometimes the competition that's in front of you is just greater than you are. You know, great teams, the Dale brothers in Indiana with Rick Smits and Reggie Miller and Mark Jackson had some great teams. They just weren't better than the Bulls. And it's like the same thing. It's no knock on Jeffrey Osborne, but my nigga, are you better than Luther? No. Are you better than Freddie? No. And maybe not even better as far as can you sing, but can you make the hits? You know what I mean?
Or getting the promo.
Or getting the promo.
That's just the thing. People got to understand. You got to have the money behind you. And Luther was on Epic and Sony, so was nobody getting past him. Hell, Freddie couldn't, and Freddie was busting out these hits like that. He still couldn't get past Luther with as far as sales, but he was killing them R&B wise. But Jeffrey wasn't getting the push like that, so it was like he was limited. So that kept him.
I remember what was that? I'm Only Human, right? That was like
yeah.
Big, yeah.
And that was
On the Wings of
Love, for real.
Yeah. On the Wings of Love,
Yeah.
On the Wings of Love was huge, man. That, you know, yeah. All right, Beg, who you got up next, bro?
Up next, I got Cheek Luch.
Okay.
And it's the butterfly effect, you know. I remember I felt like I was the only one checking for New Locks albums. Felt like I was the only one that was listening to New Locks albums and Jadakiss albums. And he did, you know, verses, and it was like Kiss is number one, Styles is number two to people, even though it should be flipped. Styles' catalog is way better. But it was like them. It was almost as if they were the Locks. Right. And Sheik was just the guy you remember being a part of it a long time ago. But Sheik has several memorable verses on the mixtapes alongside of them, on the guest features on Biggie album and everybody else album. Arguably has the best verse on the Benjamins, just from spitting and style and swag and all of that shit. And, you know, and he has solo albums and mixtapes that are good. But it's because, like you said, Jadakiss is like the Method Man of the group. He's the star. But everybody know Method Man's catalog is not touching Ghostface's catalog.
Right.
And Jizza arguably has a better catalog. Shit, not even arguably. Right? He has better music or whatever. But not to like separate the group. I just think that people treat Sheik as if he's the whack one. And it's the Locks. Right. Nobody's whacking the Locks. You know what I'm saying? As far as the heads go. So I just kind of find it funny that he kind of gets left in the dust because, you know, rightfully so, you know, Sheik and Styles have done, not Sheik and Styles and Jadakiss have done some things together that most people remember them for more than the group collectively. And most people who know, Sheik is no slouch either when it comes to the bars. And even with the personality, you watch him talk, he's just as funny as the rest of them. So it's like they're collective and he gets left out, you know, far too often when they talk about the Locks. So
yeah.
They just showed the Locks. They just showed the Locks playing. They just showed the Locks playing piano and who was better on the piano, and all three of them was like,
nice with it, right?
Huh? Yeah, he was nice on the piano. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know they played piano. So,
and that podcast that they got him, he's hilarious. His personality is.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. I used to sleep on Sheik until this album. They got a joint on here called The Essence. And Sheik lost his fucking mind on this joint. And I mean, and Kiss's style part is crazy, but Sheik, yo, don't make me have to give it to a nigga that I play with in the sand. I was like, God damn. But like you said, Beg, I think we got to this point where I just think it's the internet, bro. I really think it was the internet and these chat rooms that just morphed into social media, where you have all these other people who I saw this guy, and Kelv, you may know this person. I don't know. He was like, he worked for ESPN. He got laid off and, you know, he's like coming back doing his own thing. And he's like breaking down what's wrong with, you know, sports media. And it's kind of like, there's really nothing to report on. So all we can report on is arguments. All we can do is every day start some type of argument about now it's like Kawhi or Curry, or could Curry play then, or it's we got to start some shit. So it's really not any reporting. It's just literally grabbing things out the air. Nikolai scores. Nikolai, is that his name? Nicole, I done said Nikolai Volkov. Nikola. I don't call this nigga Nikolai Volkov. But the dude from the Denver Nuggets, he scored 63, and then it just turns into, but is he a top 20 center of all time? Like, we report real quick, and then we got to jump into, but would Shaq cook him? And, you know, I feel like that's where the internet took our hip hop discussions. It took them to, yo, the Lox is good, but who's the better one? Like, oh, it's Jada. It's you know what I mean? Because I don't feel like we did that back in the day. Like when we were sitting on campus, Kelv, I don't remember ever having no conversations like, and maybe we did, but I just don't remember like no diehard tip or fight or who's better in the group. And if we did, it was like, yo, but who got better beats, Peter or Preem? And it was a discussion. It wasn't this like tier one down to build the other one up type thing. What were you gonna say, Beck?
I was gonna say you hit the nail on the head, because one of the things, like working in media, that I observed, and I know a couple of people observed it because we are where we are, but sports media in particular, or news in general, right? Social media was breaking the news. Social media was setting the trends and the conversations that tuning into ESPN almost seemed boring. Not to me, because, you know, I'm older. I want to learn about the stats and all the details. But it felt like at some point they started chasing those same topics that you would see. That's why every week there's a GOAT conversation. Every segment, there's a way to insert the GOAT, you know, in basketball, whatever it may be, because that's what people are doing online, and they're chasing what they think people want, and some of them want it, but most of us don't tune into like these sports shows for, you know, what we trying to avoid on the internet, you know. So
right. You gonna say, Cal?
Piggyback off what Vic saying too. I think, and what you said, Kill too. The highlights are already out there. So, like you said, if you want, like we used to watch Sports Center, you know, because you can get the highlights before. Now you can get the highlights on your phone
in real time. You get them in real time too. I don't have to wait till 11 o'clock to see Anthony Edwards dunk on somebody. As soon as it happens, it's on my timeline.
Right.
So yeah, you got that. So yeah, everything else. Yeah, now I gotta. I think even ESPN was like, "Embrace debate." That was like their slogan for a minute. So they want to have those conversations of you going at each other, you know, arguing 6 to 7 hours a day and stuff like that.
And now it's just out of hand because I don't want to see Stephen A. Smith and LeBron going back. Like now like I'm like, either y'all having a celebrity boxing match or shut the fuck up. Like, please, let's stop. It's one or the other. Give the money to my organization. Give it to the Boys and Girls Club. Like, or shut the fuck up. Like, it's that simple. But all this back and forth, and I would have swung on LeBron, and then LeBron got Stephen A. doing the 1-2. It's like, stop. Like, either y'all gonna rumble or shut the fuck up. Rel, what you got up next, bro?
I'm still in Queens. Still in Queens, Kel.
Still in Queens.
Large Professor. Listen, we
the live guy with glasses.
Is
that would have came out? I really feel like if this would have came out right there, we'd be talking about Large Professor totally different, man.
A lot of his stuff is just timing and long hiatuses and things of that nature. I think which kind of hurts his name, but like he's like the producer's producer. You know what I'm saying? You ask any top producer, and his name comes up with respect, and he taught some of them. Didn't he teach some of them how to use He taught Hav. He taught Cream how to use the SP12. He taught Hav how to get busy too. He like, yeah. P's name is behind a lot of people. You know what I mean? There we go. He needs to be respected. Breaking Adams.
This dude done changed his hat. Like this dude was doing Grammy changes in the middle of the show. Like,
he's the MVP tonight, man.
Yeah.
Top of 50 tonight. But yeah, like, and even as on the mic, you know what I'm saying? And I remember I remember when Faking the Funk came out, like that video, I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like that's one of my favorite songs. That like this is crazy, you know what I'm saying? And I just don't think he gets mentioned enough when you mention those top the Primos, the P Rocks. And it's reasons why, you know what I'm saying? It's reasons why. But to me, he was just as dope, you know what I'm saying, as those guys. But, you know, I think timing and, you know, things like albums that didn't drop and then albums that dropped maybe too late, like that the First Class joint dropped late, too late, probably should have been dropped a couple years earlier, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that probably hindered him, but I gotta give him his love, so you know, Large Pro.
Even Large Pro, one that where you say probably heard him. He was like, Queens represent by the album when I drop it, and the album don't drop for.
Yeah. I remember that on Midnight.
And he killed that song. So he killed that song. So we like, oh, okay, okay, and then it didn't drop. You know what I'm saying?
That's a producer that can rap.
Yeah, there we go.
Now he can rap.
I think the thing with Large Pro is by the time everything did come out, like I think he could rap, but I don't know if he could keep up with those 90, the Lyrical Miracle dudes. You know what I mean? Because like I like it. I love it because I don't want you to be Lyrical Miracle, but like it seemed like Extra P's problem is like I don't know if you ever used to watch My Wife and Kids with Damon Wayans and Tisha Campbell Martin. There's an episode with Cat Williams, you know, and he talks about how he's stuck in the 80s. Like his therapist told him this is my era. So he still talks like, you know, you jive sucker, we gonna battle. And you know, I feel like Large Pro is like stuck in 1992. Like, you know, even when he do interviews, I love it because it's so hip hop, and people be like, yo, word to mother. Like I be like, oh shit, word to mother. Like this nigga still be using the same slangs. Like he used his hands the way you did in the night. It's like, because I won't hold you, I love P to death, but I have not heard Large Professor be probably in over 20 years that has been like, oh shit, like let me go turn on the machine and get busy. It's like I feel like he falls in that lane of like we can't say it's not good, so we just kind of act like it didn't come out. You know what I mean? It'd be like, yeah, you heard the Large Pro? Like, yeah, I heard it. Yeah, so what else you listening to? Like it's just like we just skate over it. But Kel, I mean, Rel, for that time, yeah, Pro was the remixes, the Resurrection. He did 2 remixes to Resurrection that most people don't know about for Calm. He did 2. You know, he's the one person who I've enjoyed his remix. I know everybody loves the Das Effects Pete Rock remix better than the original. I don't. He's the only person who's remixed the Gangstar song, The Gotta Get Over, and I like it better than the premiere one. When Large Pro was on, I'm talking from 92 to probably 97, dog, he was on. You know, and again, similar to High Tech, the only reason why his name isn't mentioned in those rooms, he doesn't have those anthems. He just doesn't. Has bangers for days, but it's just no anthem. What the nigga fucking did with the It Ain't Hard to Tell remix when he took Biz and cut that into Recognize as the King of Disco into Nas is the King of Disco. Dog Kel, probably for a good hour, I was like, where the fuck does Nas say he's the King of Disco? I'm like, when did Biz shout out Nas? I'm like, I don't remember this. And I'm like, oh my God, this nigga took Recognize and made it Nas. So again, that period of time, that's it.
He did that on Stillmatic. He did that with
with You're the Man.
The man was the sample was not saying you're the man. He kind of just did his thing and made it sound like that. But yeah.
That's the last time I heard some bangers, Large Pro bangers. That's still matters. Because Rewind, You're the Man. A lot of people thought he did Locomotive on Life is Good, but that's No ID. He's just talking. But No ID did it. Next up, I got Outkast, but as producers. I don't know what I was listening to, but it was an R&B song, and they had the horns from Spodiote. And I started thinking, yo, I don't know if y'all realize there are at least 6 to 7 songs that literally have those horns. Yeah, not an interpretation of those horns, not the beginning of those horns. Somebody just said, fuck it, we using the whole horns. And I was like, yo, people got to start putting respect on Cast's name. And I put that on Twitter. And everybody was like, yeah, Organized Noise is incredible and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Organized Noise did not produce Spodiote. Outkast did, you know. But I think a lot of the show is going to come back to people not knowing and not being out there, because everybody replying was like, yeah, organized noise. And I'm like, and mad niggas, I'm like, no, they didn't know. They was like, yo, organized noise didn't produce all Outkast. Here's the thing, y'all. Only album Organized produced the whole album for was the debut. The second album, Outkast Organized only did 5 out of the 15 songs. By the third album, Aquemini, Organized Noise only did 4 songs. And by Stankonia, they only did 3.
Right. I did not know.
And then by the Speaker Box Love Below, they didn't do any.
Wow.
So a lot of what you think is Organized Noise is really Outkast, and they fall into the same category as Havoc as a producer. That to go from Havoc not producing anything on Juvenile Hell to then producing 80% of the Infamous, nigga, that's a jump like shit. That's literally like a nigga going from getting a GED and then going to fucking be on the dean's list at Morgan the next year. Like, that's the equivalent of that kind of jump. Same thing with Outkast, to be there with Organized Noise and be able to then jump up and produce Elevators, you know what I mean, and produce songs like that, like, that's a huge jump. So just, I think Outkast, we gotta put some respect on their name as producers too, you know what I mean? So and both of them, you know. So JR, what you got up next, bro?
I'm gonna go with Angela Winbush.
JR, how old are you?
You ask that every show. Don't play with me.
No, because it's just like, god damn, I be feeling like, am I 51 or am I 10? Like, I mean, of course I know who Angela Winbush is. I just can't speak intelligently on her as you can. So that's all. You just be stretching my mind like, god damn, I be having a lot of homework to do after the show fucking with you, because I'm like, god damn, this nigga's like naming people my mom like
I don't think she get respect, period, like at all. Like what
you talk
at all. They
start at the beginning with Renee and Angela. Start at the beginning so people understand who Angela Winbush is.
Oh, well, we could even start before that.
Okay.
So she really started with Richard Smallwood as a singer with him. Then she was part of Wonder Love with Stevie. Then she went to she was doing some background from Matume. Then she went and got to Renee and that.
Now pause right there for a second, JR. This is why, for people watching, and I've said this in public when we do our pop-ups, the reason he is part of the show is because of this shit right here. Because I had no idea. This nigga Richard Smallwood, what are you talking about? Richard was with Ant, like, so again, this is why when you see all these records behind us, when he comes over here, this shit is like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, yes, it is.
So you got to understand, how does this pertain to hip-hop? One, Apartment 5B is not an all-hip-hop show. It's a music show, number one. Number two, if you're talking about, even if it was an all hip-hop show, again, these records that make all the music that y'all love comes with his knowledge. So just wanted to throw that out there real quick. Now you can get back in.
Yeah, so then she got with one, then she got with Renee and Angela, and then they did, you know, what they did, and then she almost produced for Jan, and then she produced for Stephanie Mills, and she produced for the Isley Brothers, and she produced for everybody. It's like she don't get the love she deserves. So I was like, out of anybody, let me throw her out there. So I really feel like she deserves a lot more than what she gets, for real.
Yo, let me say this. Yep, Angela Wimp. I knew my favorite Layla Hathaway song is "Baby Don't Cry."
Baby Don't Cry. I mean? Yep.
Love that joint, which is produced by Angela Winbush.
Yep.
You know,
that's my favorite.
Oh my god, I love that song. It was the video. We talked about this during the show we did about dancing, because it's these hip hop dancers in her video.
Yep.
We Don't Cry, which is kind of crazy because it's a slow jam, but they killed it. But yeah, just incredible. So all that Renee and Angela, I love the dough. For you BIG people who may not know who we talking about, that's Renee and Angela. You know what I'm saying? The joint Foxy had with Jay-Z. What was that joint? Gotta Be Good. That's Renee and Angela. Angela Winbush. Like, yeah, just incredible talent. Kel, who you got up next, bro?
I got Gerald Levert as a writer.
Oh wow.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
Let me say this before you get started, Kel. The thing, not that I respect the most about Gerald, it's the Philly in me. This nigga always had a sharp ass cut. Always had a sharp ass cut.
Did.
The beard was always fucking impeccable. The boy Gerald just always had a thorough cut. Even if he had an S curl, the cut was the shape of the beard. And the beard was impeccable, boy. You would have thought he was from Philly, the way the boy beard connected like that. So yeah.
No doubt. Obviously, we know him from Levert and then the solo album stuff like that. But he wrote for Anita Baker.
Yeah.
Wrote for Chucky Booker, James
I
Ingram.
know that.
Yeah, Barry White, Practice What You Preach. Did that.
Yo, here's a wild part. Did he do Written All Over Your Face by the Rude Boys?
Yes, he did.
That was my shit back in the day.
I think I saw something online. It was talking about Joe Levert, talking about Biden, and I was like, so I did some research on that. So I was like, oh yeah, he's official.
Yo, you wanna know what's crazy, bro? One of my favorite Gerald joints is that "Baby Hold On to Me."
You wrote that too.
Oh yeah.
Wrote that.
And that was crazy. Then it's funny because I put Nay onto that because Vague, I don't know why West Side Guns does this. In the middle of a song, he just goes into "Baby Hold On to Me," and then he just cuts it off and just goes. And they always like, "What was that?" I'm like, "Nigga, that's Gerald Levert." Like, who the fuck is Gerald? Like that's how I school Nay on music because then it's like, oh, now we gotta go down to Levert. Now we gotta go down to OJ's. Now we gotta go down these rabbit holes. But yeah, "Baby Hold On to Me" was it. Now I gotta listen to Rude Boys. I ain't heard "Written All Over Your Face." Wow, I used to love it. Good call, Cal. What you got up now, Try?
I'm gonna go to y'all crib, man, and she's in my top 5 female MCs. Favorite female is Bahamadia.
Wow, okay.
They don't talk about her. It's usually Kim Fox, Light, Latifah, and Meg Thee Stallion or whoever is new out right now. But Bahamadia, she always moved low. The Collage album is a very dope album. And then she came out with BB Queen, which was kind of like an EP, and Slums on there, Dwelle's on there. She's just a dope artist. I don't know if she's still doing radio, but she's dope, and she don't get mentioned as much as she should. So that was my next video.
I know for me,
Hallway the other day.
what happened?
I was just listening to 3 the Hallway the other day when you said that.
It's crazy because I won't hold you. The Collage album was kind of a disappointment to me, man. And I don't know if it was like being from Philly because like you hit me with the True Honey Buns, you hit me with the 3 the Hard Way, even the Ski Joint. You know how we do. And then it was just like some filler in there, and I just felt like I don't know why Premier didn't produce the whole album. I don't know. Guru did some stuff, and then like you said, the EP was cool, but then like there was just too much time in between. Like, so I'm always intrigued as like, yo, what happened? Because you were was she in the Gangstar Foundation? Was she just down with Guru? Like, because I just would have think somebody who's down with Guru and you're down with Premier, your beats, that would not be nothing that we'd have to worry about. Or even the Roots. Like, how did the Roots didn't even do anything on Collage. You know what I mean? No. So I've always wondered like why, because I felt like she has the talent to make a 5 mic album, especially at that time. Like True Honey Buns was my shit. She was on Illadelph too, right? Yeah, she was on Illadelph. I mean, she was on like Proceed number 522, like because it was 522 of them remixes. She was on one of them, but she Illadelph. That's where I got my name for my publishing company. One time for this time, rhymes coming from an Illadelph state of mind. Like that's where I got my publishing company name from. Was a Bahamadia bar, on that Proceed joint. So yeah, very dope, but just seemed like she disappeared. Vay, who you got up next, bro?
All right. Do I have any more? Hold up. Absol out of the TDE camp. I think he's slept on because obviously when Kendrick was a part of it, he kind of overshadowed everybody else. But then people looked to Schoolboy Q. Then when they signed Isaiah Rashad, like people started giving him props, and J-Rock gets more look. But it's like Absol is arguably one of the nicest, like out of the top 3 or maybe even 2 next to like Kendrick as far as just bar work. And I was kind of sleeping also because I didn't hear like his early stuff. So he put out, see if I have it. He put out this album called "Do What Thou Wilt," and the first song is called "Raw Backwards," or it's raw. Raw spells raw backwards, but the way he flips it, like the hook and the way he's spitting, I was like, "Oh, nobody raps in that camp over there like that." Like Kendrick sometimes will dibble and dabble, but he kind of does his own thing. But when it comes to the straight up bars, like Ab Soul is one of the dopest. I think his last album, because he just put an album out, I don't think that one was that great, but I think he was trying to do something different. Because when he tried to be the bar king out of the crew, it just wasn't working. So now he's trying to make more songs and people like it, but he still don't get the props he deserves. Just as a lyricist out of the TDE camp, because he's clearly one of the dopest when you hear records like that. But it's a shame that it's kind of like he's just one of the other niggas getting released from that label. So,
do you think? Again, it's kind of like it's almost like mirroring the standing in the shadows of F we did. Do you think it's just because you're behind Kendrick Lamar? Like is the best thing, again, the gift and the curse. You're with TDE, but you're with TDE, and now Doechii is the face of TDE now. So, it's kind of like, do you think he'd do better, like leave? Because the problem with all the people you just named, outside of like Isaiah Rashad, I don't know. I can't tell none of them apart. Like, I'm like, is Ab Soul the one with the curly hair with the sunglasses, or is that J-Rock, or who? I don't know who is who. Nobody has a distinctive voice that I remember. So it's kind of like, I know for me, they just all it's just Kendrick and them. Like, I feel like it's like, and I don't want to disrespect them because everybody, Rel, you've talked about them, Vegas, you talked about that they put in bar work, but I guess it's just for me, I'm not hearing the voice, so something doesn't line up. It just doesn't speak to me. Like, I'm gonna go check out the joint you just said because I'm interested to see how he's flipping what you said. But do you think it would be better for him if he was never on TDE, or if he kind of getting off TDE help? Because here's the thing, Kendrick ain't on TDE, right? Like, he left. So he's not even there anymore, but people still talk about him. Like, but I guess he's still down because he was doing like concerts in Compton with the TDE crew doing a new album. So I'm like,
yeah, that's still down, like partnership stuff, right? Like Redman is like an honorary member of Wu-Tang, and they all say that. We may feel like no, he's not, but who cares? They set the standard for that. But I think with him, I don't know if it's that, because a lot of people know Schoolboy Q. You know what I'm saying? Like, just as much as Kendrick. Some people prefer Schoolboy.
How many of these people is this? So it's Schoolboy Q, Ab Soul, J-Rock, and Isaiah Rashad.
Right, and they just signed another younger cat. He was the one who responded to Joey Badass. But this is the thing, Kill. I'm not looking for us to know him. I'm watching the kids.
Okay.
They look at Schoolboy Q, and it's not like compared to Kendrick, because obviously Kendrick's bigger. Right. He's just as big. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So Kendrick gone, Schoolboy Q is right there with Doechii, right? And he probably has more weight because he's done more. But Ab Soul has always been dope, right? Rapping right next to him, BET Cypher, all kinds of shit. When he was on stage with him, there was a reason why Ab Soul was out there when he did the most lyrical diss record, which is 616 in LA, with Ab Soul, because Ab Soul is a spitter. You know what I'm saying? So that was like taking it back. But to your point, Kill, most people, whether it's him or the rest of them niggas, they looking like, so which one is Kendrick?
Right.
He's all the same niggas. It's just a bunch of friends. So,
but yeah,
I hate to put it like that track, though.
All right, no doubt. Rel, Ab Soul is who you're always talking about too, right, Rel?
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah.
Who you got up next, bro?
I'm gonna go R&B, and I'm gonna go Bilal. And listen,
really, right?
Firstborn second.
Hell yeah, man.
A 5 right.
All this stuff, before I start pulling out my Brooklyn shit.
5 mic classic. And then it's a theme here. Like, That second album that was supposed to come out.
Love for Sale, 5 Mic Classic
Oh
2.
shit, man.
I
Oh,
don't even know if they should re-release it. I think it should just still be that mystery that we still.
I agree.
Shit, I have it.
Yeah, I got it too.
I got it.
Yep.
I mean, what it could have probably done for him, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, it's unfortunate, you know what I mean? But you know, that's two right there, and like every time he's on something, he kills it. He's probably the only person that did a Prince tribute that Prince would have liked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't even sleep on this joint. The Airtight Revenge joint. Was
Yes. Oh,
Another
yeah.
classic.
crazy.
Another one.
He's an amazing artist that, you know, is slept on a bit. You know what I mean? So Philly.
Yeah, it was crazy. I interviewed Bilal a minute ago. I was like, dog, how does it feel to be one of the few people who ever worked with Dr. Dre, Jay Dilla, and Premier? And he was like, yo, I never even realized that shit. I'm like, there are not too many people. And I mean, now later on in life game, you know, but you work with these people at like their height. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of just like, and I remember him saying like, Dre is like, he said like, and I don't know if he was bullshitting or not, but he said, yo, like Dre came in with a briefcase, like on some old handcuff briefcase, and it just was all his sounds in there. Like this shit was like some Tom Cruise Mission Impossible. He's like, Dre is that sound. Like him going into doing headphones, I could see that coming because that was Dre's thing. So, you know, just one of the few people to do all three, but definitely a dope pick. I love Bilal. I'm gonna kind of empty out this joint. I got Ice Cube as a movie producer and as a businessman. You know, you've got the Friday franchise, the Are We There Yet franchise, the Barbershop franchise. I was never mad at him as an actor. You know, I never said, oh, damn, Cube is getting a fucking Oscar, but I never was like, this nigga Cube. Like, so even as an actor, he was legitimate enough for me to not trip. And then, I mean, the big three, this whole basketball thing. When he started talking about that, I was like, you gonna play half-court basketball with retired niggas? Like, that shit sounds stupid. 5 years later, shit looked like a genius to me. You know what I mean? So just as a businessman, I got Cube. I got Chuck D, man. The Chuck D slander that I see on the timeline is crazy. This one battle rapper, we were like bigging up Chuck D, and this one dude was like, nigga, I'll battle him right now, put him in the ground and bury that nigga. Just all this shit. Funniest thing, one of my followers found one of this guy's battles where he was battling, and this is where battling has gone entirely too far. The nigga who he was battling somehow got a family picture of him and like pulled out the picture in the battle, like 8x10, like, nigga, is this you and this your dad and this your mom? Like, it was like, and it's like, this the nigga who gonna bury Chuck D. So I just think Chuck doesn't get the love like that he deserves. R&B wise, Raheem Devon. I mean, I will keep saying I'll never understand it. The Love Experience from 2005, Guess Who Loves You More, You, Believe, The Love Behind the Melody, which was his Grammy nod for Woman, Customer, Mo Better, Love Drugs, The Love and War, double CD with Bulletproof with Luda, B.O.B., Bedroom, A Place Called Loveland, A Decade of Love King. I mean, just so many joints. And I don't know how Raheem's name just never gets brought up like that. JR, this was one that I wanted to see what you thought about. I don't know if Bobby Brown gets the props that he deserves. Because I feel like Don't Be Cruel is a 5 mic. I mean, I don't know. This is why I'm asking you. I don't hear Bobby's name brought up for what he's done. Because there was a time and point. I don't care if it was for 18 seconds. He was bigger than any fucking body. He was the fucking man. This nigga, you turn on 227, here come Bobby dancing in. You turn on fucking another show, here come Bobby dancing in. This nigga was fucking everywhere, okay? Fucking Off on Our Own, the Dance You Know a remix album, the Rock With You remix. I mean, I just think for a minute Bob was the biggest star on the planet, and I just don't hear his name come up now like that. And I know you love a lot of his second work. For me, I kind of tapped out with Bob after that first album. Bobby, the joint was cool. But yeah. I'm sorry. The second one, Don't Be Cruel. I'm sorry. He did a Mob Deep with Girlfriend.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, we forget about that first album. Just jump straight to Don't Be Cruel. So you're right. Yeah, Girlfriend was the shit, not that album.
Right.
But
That's true.
I love the fact that he got a do-over though. Because could you imagine if he didn't get a do-over? Think about how that changes. Think how that changes the R&B landscape if we don't get Don't Be Cruel. Because New Edition is like dumbass nigga. Now he Eddie Kane trying to sing his way back in the group. Now you want to be back because you never had Don't Be Cruel. But I don't know. I just didn't think. What do you think, JR? You think Bob gets the credit?
I think Bob do get the credit that he deserves. I do. I think so. And then Versus kind of proved it, to be honest, because everybody was really going up for Bob because everybody thought he was gonna win it, and I was like, no. Y'all really thinking him going against Keith, he's gonna win it? That right there just shows me they give Bob his love that he deserves because Keith demolished Bob. Like it just was what it was. But I think
do not remember that Versus at all. I didn't even know they did a Versus.
Yeah. It's one of the first ones they did without in the beginning people just they were playing their music off a radio or whatever.
Oh no, they actually did it with Dave Jones was in a concert though.
Yeah,
Bob was in a Keith and Bob was in a big joint and
maybe it's on YouTube. I gotta hear that.
Oh, it is because Steve Sweat got drunk and shit too. And
he was drunk as
shit.
And the last person I got, Case. I don't think Case gets enough props. You know what I mean? I think they look at him like that touch me, tease me nigga, but Personal Conversation with Happily Ever After and Faded Pictures, Open Letter with Missing You, and again, I kind of tapped out. I didn't hear the Rose Experience and the Hey My Love, but those three albums alone for me, Missing You, Faded Pictures, and Happily Ever After is enough to keep me good to go with that. But I definitely think Case doesn't get brought up enough. JR, what you got left, bro?
I got a couple for the last one. I was gonna say R.I.P. to Angie Stone, but I'm glad she's getting the love now because she wasn't when she was here. It seemed like I was the only one.
You were the only one riding for her. You were it.
You know what I'm saying? Like that woman has done so much for so many people's careers. It's nuts. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that people are now like with her passing, but that always happens. When you leave, then
how do we stop that then? How do we?
I don't know. We all of us, we're on social media and we're putting this out and it still don't get nothing. You know what I mean? Because I had a thing like after the D'Angelo verses that he did, and I did a review afterwards, and I talked about Angie, and I like ran down her resume like y'all like Angie she's in this, and y'all not understanding, but. I don't know. Well, we keep. I think
it's a mind. I think it's just a mindset change, and it's one of those mindset changes that is like we have to. It's just the mindset change of giving people their flowers while they're here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it has to be a very specific mindset change because the natural thing to do is somebody dies, then you have 50,000 people who want to talk at the funeral. And you got the pastor saying, hey, take 2 minutes, and niggas gonna take 8. And then the funeral will take 8 hours, But it could be this nigga's 50th birthday party and don't nobody want to say shit.
Nothing.
You know what I mean? And it's like, why are we talking to a fucking corpse when we didn't take the time to talk to the person? Like somebody checked me once and was like, we will move heaven and hell to go to somebody's funeral. Like, you know what I mean? But you won't move heaven and hell just to go spend the weekend with them. And it just hit like, oh shit, you know what? You're right. Because if old boy died, I would find a way to get the money to go to Cali for the funeral. I need to be able to find the same fucking hustle to get the money to go to Cali to go hang out with this nigga while he's alive. But my brain isn't naturally thinking that way. It's kind of just like, oh, emergency. Fuck it. Get whatever money I got. I got to go. It's an emergency. And we got to change our mindset to be the emergency is spending time with those people now. Like that is the emergency. The emergency isn't when they're dying. The emergency is spending time with them now. And it's being able to change our mindset from, like I said, let me move heaven and hell to get to this funeral, to see the corpse, to see a dead body, and be sad versus, let me go hang out with my man in LA for the weekend and have a good time and make some memories. Like that's not the emergency. What are you going to say, Cal?
I was going to tell him what you were saying. As crazy as and off the rails as Drink Champs is sometimes. I do like when Nori, he gives those like golden flowers to the people that he has on the show. It's like, yeah, I'm giving you flowers, I'm giving you respect now. So, but on the R&B side, I don't see anybody doing anything like that. Maybe, I don't know, I haven't seen what's name show too much Tank show, but yeah, some people are.
Yo, here's the thing, JR. Here's the thing, and here's the crazy thing. Niggas know I come from a battle background. This is how crazy I am with battles. I've said this story before. I was at my man Drizz's wedding. The singer came off stage, was passing around the mic, and I told Tanya in her ear, if she passes you the mic, you fucking rip her ass to shreds in here. Okay? For people watching my wife sing, she's an amazing singer. I come from that place. You pass out that mic, tear this shit down, T. Burn this motherfucker down. Battle her right here. You know, and the crazy thing is I think, JR, you and Elise, y'all gotta start battling these motherfuckers. Y'all gotta start being like,
oh, it's starting. You know, oh, it's happening. Like, oh, it's happening. I've had enough.
because the thing is, bro, all of these podcasts, for the most part, it's not the people, it's not the host that get me, it's whoever your guest is. If your guest isn't good, I don't watch.
Correct.
Right.
You know, whereas with podcasts like mine and Vegas's and yours, niggas tune in because of us. You know what I mean? It's not about the guest. And that's what makes the difference. And you're right, Kelv, R&B doesn't really have that. And that's what y'all need to start bum rushing niggas. Y'all need to fucking do a Nino Brown and do a Carter. You need to just take over the building.
Oh, wait, it's an episode, and I went ham on a lot of motherfuckers. But who else
got left after Angie?
I got two more. So I got Stokely as a vocalist. He does not get the respect. When we talk about 90s R&B dude, he does not get. I don't hear his name in at all. He's always bypassed, and I'm like, Stokely can out-sing a lot of these dudes, and I'm talking about now. Like Stokely can sing down, and he don't get that love like that. So, like, I try all the time. Like, Neltron, you came on the show, and we talked about Mint Conditions, Welcome to the Mint, and we kind of went in about him vocally, him as a musician. Like, he's dope, and a lot of people don't see that. So definitely want to throw out Stokely. And the last one, I'm gonna say Joe.
It's on my list.
I don't think Joe gets a lot of credit, and we know why. But at the end of the day, it's like he's deserving. He's been consistent since quote unquote 97 and all the way to 2016 with his last album that My Name Is Joe Thomas. He's been consistent to me. So he hasn't tried to do anything different. He's been him, and that's it. And I don't think he really gets the love as a vocalist, as a songwriter. He done wrote for mad people, he done produced for mad people, and he don't get no love like that. So if you talk about 90s R&B too, he should be, and 2000s, Joe should definitely be smoking. So I throw him in.
It's funny when we keep talking about people in people's way. I just thought about Tanya Hardin. Like, well, I'm glad us R&B people and hip hop people don't be banging niggas over the head. You know, like some unique shit on Power. Like, get this nigga out the way. Like, you know, it's another dark skinned nigga from Philly with a beard and weird fitteds. Got a podcast. Let me go over there and take this fucking steel pole and beat the shit out that nigga so he can't talk no more. You know, because I still can't believe that chick did that. Like, you got some balls on you, my nigga, to just go beating people in the fucking kneecaps because you want to win a goddamn ice skating tournament. Well, not a tournament. It was the Olympics. Let me not call the Olympics a tournament. But Kel, what you got up left?
No problem at all.
I got one left. I got Kashif as a producer. I think. I know to be right in JR's wheelhouse with that one. I mean, I think same thing when you looking up Brian and
Dave Hall
earlier. I said Kashif, same thing, gets lost in the mix between, you know, Jam and Lewis and Babyface and stuff. People forget about him in the early 80s. Obviously, his work with his album Stone Love, you know, Love Changes was more. I'm in Love, Champagne King. Whitney Houston, Give Me Your Love.
It wouldn't have been no Whitney if it wasn't for that record. Yeah,
that record might be my favorite Whitney record. So, I love George Benson, you know, because she was.
Grateful.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, Tron, what you got up left, bro?
So, you know, another one too.
He's
Which
speaking
got
of
left now, Con?
this guy was the other guy who held the '80s down. That's Leon Silvers.
Top go
got
off, man. Absolutely.
Amazing songwriter, bass player. The harmonies of the Silvers, they the shit. You already know that. Omar from UK.
Oh
Yes, Omar. Omar is that dude. They don't talk nothing about this. He's the most slept on UK dude.
yeah.
Just a vocalist, amazing.
Omar.
I got Angela Bofield, real quick, just for her voice and her impact. Mickey Howard. Yeah. Producing wise, I got MC wise, I got LP from Company Flow. As far as white boy MCs, there's always Eminem and a few others, and whatever that fat dude was who was with Timberland. But LP,
Bubba Sparks.
Bubba Sparks, yeah, that dude. But LP is amazing. When he did his own record label, he was a record label guy with Def Jux. Thurston Howell III, Low Life, Low Out, amazing MC on Lyricist Lounge, Soundbombing 2, and I think my last one is going to be this good brother been on here a couple of times, Zoe from Foreign Exchange.
Yes, sir.
He don't get talked about, so those are the ones I have.
No doubt. Veg, what you got left, bro?
I got Daz as a producer.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people don't know what he produced on Death Row, but he did a lot of good hits, especially Tupac hits. And Tupac was, I believe, like the biggest artist on there as far as success. Because when Tupac came, that's why Suge Knight kind of showed him a little favoritism. But Daz did a lot of his joints, a lot of his hits. I believe he did I Ain't Mad At You also. I also have Kool Rock Ski. I did the knowledge on Kool Rock Ski, and I was like, you know what? When you listen to him rap back then,
yo, he was spitting, man.
He was spitting.
Rap boys in general underrated, but yeah, back to Kool Rock.
Yeah,
but Marky B was cool, but Kool Rock Ski was spitting. Like he was an MC,
right?
Before you was an MC, like he was on some. Listen to that first Fat Boys album. If people watching haven't heard, listen to that first Fat Boy album. Even on the funny shit, Jailhouse Rap or Human Beat. Yo, Kool Rock, can you feel it? Kool Rock Ski is spitting, man. He's spitting. That's a great pull, man.
And last on the R&B side, and I don't know if people forget. I just don't hear it enough. But Ricky, New Edition. I think in BBD, you got to see him shine. But it's just as a singer, I just feel like sometimes he don't get talked about enough because they're more popular singers. They're, arguably better if you're thinking about Johnny Gill or somebody like that. But I always thought Ricky was dope, and he was a dope part of the group. He added to the group, and I think BBD, him being over there and get to do a slow jam kind of gave him a light to shine. But for whatever reason, and I don't know the details of, and I don't remember that show because I think it was something with him personally. He just didn't really get to grow outside of being in those groups, like people talk about Ralph Tresvant and Bobby Brown and what's Johnny Gill. So yeah, I think Ricky just needs to be talked about as a contributor to the group in a big way, especially with BBD. So.
Right, no doubt. And Ralph, who you got up last?
I just read them all. I got Devin the Dude.
Yeah, Devin, that's a dope pull.
Different type of artist, but like you listen to the album, they fire, and all your favorite rappers like Devin the Dude. Even been doing it for a long time. I have Twista. The rapping fast gimmick kind of stuck with him, but he spits like for real. Like he can rap his ass off, but that he got caught up in the. I mean, some people look at him as just a guy that can rap fast. You know what I'm saying? But he a lot more than that. I have Tim and Bob as producers.
That's
Good
dope.
one, Rel.
There was a time, like, especially like in the 2000s, man. Like,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? John B, Tamia, Case Cisco, Bobby Valentino, Dave Hollister, Donnell Jones, TLC. You know, they were it, and they'll get talked about enough. And I got Ryan Leslie.
Wow.
Probably talented dudes, man. Most talented dudes, and you know, kind of got fucked over, but you know what I'm saying, real talented brother. So
Yo, it's so funny you say Ryan Leslie. I've been watching a lot of his videos because Nate was like, I don't know how we got to Ryan Leslie, but I was like, yo, I used to love his videos of him showing how he made the beats. So we watch one, and Nate's like, Daddy, that ain't no goddamn FedEx man coming with no little baby trumpet. Like, that nigga brought it like a plastic bag. Like, and I didn't even put it together. Like, when it happened, like, he's making a beat, and he's on the phone calling, like, you know, Sam Ash, like, yo, I need a trumpet, and then the delivery man bring it. But it's like, it wasn't even in no box. Like, she was like, nigga, that's this man down the street. Like, but I was like, well, shit look good. Like, I thought it looked, at the time, this is what I mean. Now you looking at it with 2025 eyes, and 19, you know, in 2008, this shit was, you know, I'm like, yo, this nigga that called Sam Ash and ordered the instrument, and a lot of his shit is staged, but I love it. If people have not watched Brian Leslie, like Brell said, incredible talent. He has all these videos on YouTube. He has this one called what is it, 5 Second Freshen Up, where he's making the beat and he like invites a girl to the studio and he goes picks up, and so a very dope dude, man. Very dope dude. Kelv, I didn't shout you out. Rough House, love the t-shirt. If you people who rock with Apartment 5B know that if I have a great low collection, Kelv has the greatest record label hip hop t-shirt collection I know. Rough House, label that's out of Philly, this actually lines up with my bookworm. Rough House, from the streets of Philly to the top of the 90s charts. This was based out of Philly. I remember going down here trying to get an internship. I think Rough House, it was the Fugees, it was Cypress, and it was Crisscross, if I'm not mistaken.
And don't forget
We did an
the
episode on it, remember?
Huh?
We did an episode on it.
Right. The Goats were there. The Goats was this group out of Philly that I was not a fan of, you know. But for a minute, they had Nas. For a hot minute, for like a millisecond, Nas was on it because Rough House was a subsidiary of Columbia. So for like a minute, they had Nas. Like they love bragging about that. But very dope book. No, you got.
And I was gonna say that you've got one artist. I mean, he's whack, but I always like to shout because he had this crazy record. Tim Dog was on Rough House.
Oh, fuck Compton. Oh man. Yo, did Tim Dog die? Because somebody told me he died, but then he faked his death, and then he really died. But I don't. It's like.
No idea.
Yeah, like it was like he died, but then he didn't die. He died for like the Social Security, but I don't know. But
I heard some rumors. Yeah.
R.I.P. Tim Dog if you're dead. If not, keep living, bro. Do your thing. I don't know. I'm confused, bro. Where can they get at you, good brother?
Uptown World 215, Instagram JBen215.
Yo, Rel, everybody wants this hoodie, bro.
Oh, I just about to say, yo.
Dude's trying to steal my shit. It's like, yo, I'm gonna come over and steal that hoodie.
I appreciate that, bro.
I'm just saying.
I ain't done that clothes stuff in a while, man. I appreciate that now, Sean. With the big red hoodie. Yeah, and it's not you, it's me on all your, streaming platforms and on my Bandcamp. Check it out.
All right, Veg, where can I get at you, bro?
You can follow me on social media at Vegas World INC and check out my podcast, Hip Hop Now Podcast, which is a news and perspectives podcast and a couple of interviews, like one I just did with I Am God out of Chicago, right here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to push to 10,000. Why not? Right now we're at 5,400, something like that. So yeah, I appreciate everybody who's tuned in. I have some more surprises, more content, live streams, and all of that. And if you want to check out my music, because I don't think I'm making any more, you can visit vegasworldinc.bandcamp.com, or it's available on all streaming platforms. and me and Kill got 7 projects together. So not only do we have the same birthday, because we didn't find that shit out until way later. I hope y'all know that, right? We just happened to be like, happy birthday, nigga, happy birthday. We didn't know, you know. But yeah, we did 7 projects. The most recent project is an album called Best Style Vintage. There's also an EP that's kind of some loosies that could have been on there, but check it out. It's Boom Bap. Rel's featured on that joint. Me and Rel might have to do an EP because we be talking that fly shit. So maybe I'll write for that, you know. But nothing else, no more. Shit, I'm old. Like, I can't do it. But yeah, check out those albums available everywhere.
All right. Neltron, where can I get at you, bro?
At Neltron 8000 on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, I guess. Yeah. Yep.
Yo, B, I forgot all about Blue Sky. I literally looked at my phone and I was like, oh shit, I got this app on here. I have not thought about Blue Sky, and wow, I don't even fucking know. But okay, cool, yeah. I got to start shouting that out again. Well, I ain't said shit in 8 months. So, Kel, where can I get at you, bro?
I gotta set up my Blue Sky account, and Spill, I think, is 2 things I downloaded, but I didn't do that. But you can find me on Instagram at Big Kel.
All right, JR, what's going on with the R&B reps?
Check out the R&B reps, man. We got this new show that we got called Fan Culture, Not Stan Culture. So we have people come on and talk about their artists, and we ask some good and bad questions about their artists, because your artist ain't perfect. So we got that. The latest episode is going to be out. We did it with Timogen. He talked about Shaka Khan. So that was a good episode. I started a new series, JR Stacks Life. So I'm doing Stacks records and doing it in like 5 and 6 minutes and giving you some history and fun facts about different Stacks songs. And just subscribe to the R&B Representatives, the R&B Reps on Instagram, Twitter. I'm JR's World of Soul on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Kill, can I give I mean, I always do it, but can I give JR some props? Because
please do.
What I do for hip hop is what he do for R&B. So when current R&B bangers pop up,
I'll be
right there, like,
I'm back with that too.
When I look for myself, all I see is a bunch of silk shirt niggas. I'm like, I don't know what I really don't know what to listen to. But then when I have to talk about these artists and explain their history and play a sample, and then I can say, oh, I want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? But checking by myself, nah, it just be niggas like Myron and shit on it. Yo, I have it on my list to listen to.
I'm gonna stand by this album until the end of time.
Dope album.
Y'all can clown me. Y'all can clown me at my funeral. You can put this in the casket with me. I'm standing by this album. That y'all can joke on me about this album forever. I fuck with Myron. I know it's a whack ass cover, and he should have went with the back. He could have just went with the down, or he could have even went harder with that joint like that. With your Carl Thomas thinking pose. But I don't know why they had him draped over the bed like.
It's on my to listen to list, so I'm not really hating. I'm gonna check it out.
You haven't listened to it yet?
No, but I went and got it because I was like, damn, if Kill went and bought the shit, it's probably good. So.
Well, I didn't buy it. I got it through 889. I didn't buy it, but I would have brought it. Okay. I would have brought it. It's a great album. It'll remind you of like circa 9. It'll remind you of Brown Sugar D'Angelo. So right. It's good for that. And y'all know me, 88Kill 889 Twitter, IG. Y'all know me. If you come over here, it's like the Hip Hop Museum over here. I wish they had these when I was kids. Breaking action figures.
Oh wow!
You got and you got Turbo with the broom.
With the broom.
You gotta get Turbo with the broom.
Wow!
So you got Breaking Jordan. I don't know. This thing is gonna
Super 7 website.
It is Super 7. It is Super 7. It is Super 7. And I mean, they've got a lot of dope joints. We got Eric B and Rakim over here. You know what I mean? What else is over here? We got Slick Rick. We got Jay Dilla.
Mm.
We got over here. We got KRS-One for By Any Means.
Oh wow.
And then you got Doom. So they got a lot of dope joints out. You know what I'm saying? So got those joints in this. So definitely check that out. Real quick spill, because I was sharing this with one of my people at work today, and it's really, I'm reading this book called Think Like a Monk. It's helped change my life and the way I see things. And this guy was talking about how they did this experiment. They made this like ecosystem of like trees, and they built it like covered and made sure it had enough sunlight and enough water and everything. But he kept seeing that the trees would just eventually fall over and wilt, and they didn't realize what the problem was. And they didn't realize that trees need wind, because what happens is as the wind blows, it actually makes the tree's trunks and roots grow stronger into the ground to be able to hold itself down. So the winds, those stuff is a lot of the noise we may get in life. It may be some of the trials and tribulations we go through. And the whole chapter was about a lot of times we try to duck from the pain, or we try to duck from the challenges, and we try to duck from that. But in reality, those wins are going to be what makes us stronger to be able to continue to grow. So just don't duck the stuff that's going to come at you. Like my pastor would say, if I'm not preaching to you, eventually, if you live long enough, you will go through some adversity in this game called life. But just stand strong. That's, trust me, is building your roots, is making you get firmer, is making you get stronger, even if you can't see it. And if you have something coming up, don't duck it. Just go straight to it. Back in the day, I'd be like, nah, I don't want to do that. That's too much work. Now I run to the hard work. You wanted my boss to give me an assignment? Bet, I'm there. I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna do it. I have no idea, but YouTube is my friend and I'm gonna find a way. Whereas 10 years ago, I would have been like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do that. And a lot of times what you don't realize is you're auditioning for things in your life that you don't even know about. My boss had me doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I didn't even know that it was almost auditioning me for this new role that I'm about to walk into. So a lot of times, and I have a lot of people on my staff, people ask them to do stuff, and they be like, that ain't my job. And I'm like, yo, nigga, if the ED asks you to do something, go do that shit. Like, go do that shit and do it fly. So then it could be like, yo, I told Shorty to do it. Boom, she came through and really knocked it out the park. You ain't doing it because it ain't on your job description. And that's another thing. For you people out there who talk that it ain't on my job description shit, just understand that if you say that shit out loud, nobody's ever bringing your name up. You are like on everybody's shit list forever. Please don't ever say it to yourself. Type it in your phone. Say the shit to Siri. But if you let them words come out of your mouth, best believe anybody in upper management is gonna be like, nah, nope. Nobody wants to hear that shit, because there is something on your job duties called other duties as assigned. I love that bullet point. That's my favorite bullet point. Other duties as assigned. So it may not be on your job description, but nigga, it's on your job description. So all that just to say, just run to that shit. Stop ducking shit that may not feel comfortable. Stop ducking things that may not be easy. Challenge yourself, learn something new, and you'd be shocked at how far it gets you. But that's it for me. I will check y'all next week, good peoples.